Okay. Can y'all hear me loud and clear? Put a one in the chat if y'all can hear me loud and clear. Perfect. Love seeing so many of y'all in here already at the start of the stream. I am glad to be back. I've been sick for like the last month, so I'm glad to get back to this. Glad to communicate with y'all again. I'm glad to start helping out again. So hopefully tonight we can give y'all some good content, some good information to walk away with. And just to answer everybody's question about where to send the links to their portfolio, go ahead and send that to me through LinkedIn. And then it's going to be first come, first serve. And then we're just going to go through it. I'm going to try to go through these fast so that way we can get a lot more people in there, get them reviewed and get them the help they need. And then if you don't get it this time, then I'm thinking about having another portfolio review sometime later this week. I don't want to wait until Sunday, so there should be a chance. But to say again, glad to see all of y'all back in the chat after me being away for so long. Okay. No, if you sent it through me through LinkedIn, you're good to go. Let me see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 so far to look through. It's a very good number. Try to get through them fast so we can get as many people as possible. Give me 1 second here. Jay Casio, glad to see you back in the building. Nova's back. Glad to see you in here. Glad to see you in here, Nexus. Arc Light, glad to see you back in here. Luke Pearson, welcome to the building. Game Dev Taco, good to see you in here as well. Game Dev Josh, welcome to the building. I didn't live stream yesterday, so you're not missing nothing. I accidentally put the wrong date on the live stream yesterday, and nobody called me out for it. But Luckily, I was able to change that, so you didn't miss anything, my friend. Xavier Walker, glad to have you back in here. Tanya 3D says, thank you in advance, Tyvik. You're very welcome. Hopefully, you walk away with some good knowledge tonight. And then Daruk, Dark, how do I pronounce that? I don't want to be saying that wrong. Yeah, Walex, I will be saving the video to my channel. It'll be automatically uploaded to my channel after the live stream ends, so you should be good to go. A better player, welcome to the building. Jonathan, glad to see you in here, my man. Okay. Now, the way that this is going to work, I want you all on screen while I'm reviewing your portfolio. So what I'm going to do, if you have your comms and everything ready and your camera, if you have a camera, please have a camera. But I'm going to invite you onto the stream so that way people can see your face if you want to be on stream. But you can either accept or deny that request. If you want to, remain hidden, that's perfectly fine. But if you're willing to be on camera and let people hear your voice, I would love that, and I'm sure the audience would love that as well. Trap Tart, appreciate it. I am feeling a lot better. a lot better. Okay. So let's see. Give me 1 second. Going to invite the first person. And listen, keep in mind, y'all, this is my first time doing any of this impromptu and from the chat. So it's going to be some growing pains, but we're going to get through it. So hopefully this goes smoothly. But y'all going to get y'all's info regardless. All right, how's it going? Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, I can. And I'm quite.
Okay, cool. So how do I pronounce your name?
There's a slight delay. Yeah. So my name is Doruk,
Doruk. Okay. Nice to meet you, Doruk. Am I saying that right?
but it doesn't really. It's not a big problem how you pronounce it. Truly, I know that foreign names are difficult to pronounce.
Okay, cool. Well, I also get my name pronounced wrongly as well. People have called me Tyren, Tyreek, Tyrick, the whole nine. So I appreciate it when somebody says my name correctly. So I'm giving you that same honor. So if I can pronounce it better, then I want to do that. But let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. And also, sorry for my outfit. I guess it's 5 a.m. here. I truly wanted to join the stream, so I kind of stayed awake.
Oh, thank you for being here. No
Yeah.
problem at all. Okay.
So how do I also view your screen? Shall I also open the stream on the other tab? Oh yeah, I shall.
Yes, you can do that. I'm not for sure how it looks on the other end of this thing, to be perfectly honest. So
It
probably
is fine for me. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I'm all ears.
Okay, perfect. So before we start off, tell me a little bit about yourself, your goals, what you're trying to get to, and what you're trying to achieve in the game industry.
Mhm. So, um, I'm a computer science graduate, but and I was always involved with gaming, basically. I believe design is what truly drives me because I want to create experiences that move people. And throughout my career as a, game programmer, uh, I realized that like programming is only a tool for basically achieving that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I completely directed my career in this direction to become a game designer. Probably, I feel like due to my background and my analytical thinking, I feel more comfortable in system design. But I also really like content design and a certain degree of narrative design. I've very novicely written story for the game that you actually see. I was
Okay.
I worked in both 2A studios and indie projects, so that's the general overview.
Okay. So if you had to pick one area within game design that you want to
Hmm.
go towards, what would that
Yeah,
be?
let's say it's system design.
System design. Okay. And then what about system design sparks your passion?
So uh, I know that terminologies can sometimes get confused. So just to maybe set the stage and maybe confirm my understanding, I really like to deal with the how can I say the overarching gameplay and see how these mechanics come together and how they work by numerically. I'm also pretty much very experienced or in game design, very interested in game balance.
Mm-hmm.
So numbers are my game. That's how I see it. But I also really like to see how these numbers translate to these game moments and moment-to-moment gameplay, or if it's like a strategy game, turn-based game, how it translates to players' decision making.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically want to create these systems which players can analyze and see the brilliance behind, and sometimes like take it to the new heights. Basically, create something even greater by combining all these systems. Does it make sense, or am I
Yeah.
lacking in my understanding?
No, that makes sense. Game designer is a very complicated profession to describe because it's so vast, but system design, you just want to make the world breathe. You want to make it feel alive and you love numbers. And as far as I know, system designers deal with numbers all the time and it is number madness. So you've gone to the right place. Okay.
Let's see. Like, I mean, I've been interested in quite a lot of different fields in game design. One of the reasons was to get a general feel of them, but
Mm-hmm.
also grow as a designer. So let's see how you feel about my experience and how I present myself.
Okay. So let's see. And it says that you're in Turkey. So do you have goals of joining a AAA company here in the US? Or,
Well, I wish because not only I feel that US is the heart of gaming,
mm-hmm.
and it basically pioneers many of the one of most of my favorite games. Basically, Diablo 4, for example. I mean Diablo series and Diablo 4 being one of them, for example,
Good
and
choice.
The Last of Us,
Mm-hmm.
and quite fan of Naughty Dog. So I would wish, but I know that it's as a career path really difficult to basically cross that ocean, not physically, but to get a role there due to visa and all the other stuff. So I am currently working, but also looking for jobs in Europe, and actually have in an interview process currently with a Ubisoft studio. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, cool.
And yeah.
Great. Okay. So let me see, going through. So you want to be a system designer, and so one thing that I always advocate for people who actually figure out what they want to do is put that on your title. So, game designer, that can mean a whole lot of things. But if you put, hey, I want to be a systems designer, then people will look at your portfolio and be like, hey, this guy has an affinity for systems design. And then that niches down, that gets a little bit more into specialization. And then if you like to do anything outside of that area, then you'll be able to put that in your about section. So you could be like a passionate system designer that loves to build game worlds and this and number crunch and this and that, but also I have an interest in these sections within your about section, just so that you can get a little bit more focused when it comes to what you want to do. So immediately when I get to your profile, I see game designer, and game designer is so vast that I don't necessarily know like what gets you going, your expertise.
May I add just a little comment on that? The
Mm-hmm.
main reason for that is actually that I see the lack thereof, like the separation of this game design umbrella,
Mm-hmm.
especially in Europe and in my country. That's one of the reasons why I leave it or left it as that, as the general term.
Mm-hmm.
Because to be honest, I rarely see a system design role specifically, or even if AAA studios open roles in Europe, they usually just write it as game design, and you need to figure
Mm-hmm.
out whether they want that or this. At least my experience, but you are the expert here. So
Okay. Well, I'm not an expert on international, so that's news to me. So thank you for letting me know that. Okay. So one thing that I would recommend is that down in your about section, given that info, is that you go into system design and then you explain things around system design that you want to get into. So you say, I'm a game designer and project manager who builds artistic, engaging, memorable experiences with thoughtful practices. I work at the intersection of programming, game engines, design, art, and culture. An independent thinker who enjoys working with a diverse team, an ambitious developer who supports the growth of others. I'm committed to creating timeless games. Now, what I will say about that, that is all great. And I know that you're telling the truth, but anybody can say that because you're not necessarily, what's the word for it? You're not telling me what is a system designer through you. Anybody can say that, I want to create memorable experiences. I'm an independent thinker, this, and that. But what can you put right here that nobody else can say except for you as much as possible? So that really gets into what do you really want to do within system design, and then what do you uniquely and individually bring to the table that makes you stand out within this about statement. That's what you want to do. And that doesn't mean that this is bad or anything. It just means that I want them to know about you, what you can bring to the table. Okay. So featured, a lot of good stuff right here. You're doing presentations. That's awesome. And then you seem to have quite a bit of experience working with groups. Okay. So all of this looks good. One thing that I really like to do, and then I'm going to go to my portfolio right quick, or my LinkedIn page, rather. One thing that I recommend is going to, like, let's say Naughty Dog. I have things that I done right here. So this is kind of like a copy pasta from my resume, but from my LinkedIn page, you can just press that caret and then you get to see everything that I done while I was in Naughty Dog. So that means I don't have to search for a resume. I don't have to go through your profile or your portfolio. It's all right here. So I recommend doing something like that to tell me a little bit more about the project directly on your LinkedIn page. But other than that, it
fair
seems
enough.
like you have some good stuff on here to work with. Then it seems like you've done this for this, but the go ahead.
Uh, yeah, I agree. It's just maybe for the last item. Actually, my resume will be way more, how can I say, reflect my experiences way better than
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn page, but I understand that they have to reflect, they both have to reflect. So that's one of the reasons why one of my contracted work is not even listed on LinkedIn. And the details of my latest work are not listed in the latest experience, basically. But yeah, I believe when you get to the resume part, you will find exactly what you are looking for.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. Just give me a little bit of a sneak peek on what you did.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
True.
because I see the image, I see the project, and I'm like, ooh, what did he do? So a nice, simple breakdown of that. Okay, let's go to the website.
I also noticed you didn't read the second and the third paragraphs in the intro, which is telling to me that it is too long, maybe. Oh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's yeah, that's a good call out. So because this is not uniquely you, I'm like, okay, well,
yeah,
then it kind of falls off.
yeah, fair
So
enough.
you want to hook me,
Yeah.
and then you want to start to explain. So once you get that hook, then I will automatically want to read on.
How about you say, like, you read the second and third paragraph, and if you don't like it, then I rewrite it, or if you like one, maybe I just rearrange it.
Okay. I create visions and enrich existing ones, bringing others on board to follow them. I plan, design, convey, and bring new experiences to life. I can speak the language of artists and programmers, communicating the design needs and involving them in creating the best possible experience. I incorporate player fantasies and desires in the design process, striving to make them a co creator in developing their next favorite game. I thrive when I'm working with people from various fields and backgrounds. I can adapt to project demands quickly and love rapid experimentation and iteration to find the best experience. Okay. So you love collaboration and interdepartmental work. That's all told here. I do think it's a little bit too long. I do. I guess I'm looking for the result of what that brings. So you're telling me what you want to do, but what is the result? What is the proven result of your interdepartmental communication? What has it done in the past? How have people felt about you being, type of a type of leader at a studio? So
Okay.
yeah, but that's good stuff. Working with departments and making sure everybody, is heard and has the possibility to work at their maximum effort is great. So awesome, dude.
And I'm here for the tough love. Just
Mm-hmm.
don't hold it back.
Yeah. Okay, so this is GitHub. I am not too familiar with GitHub, but I will say that you're losing me right here when I first click on this because you mark yourself as a game designer. You said that you have a computer science background, which is fair. But is this the only portfolio page that you have?
No, it certainly isn't. Actually, my CV is at the LinkedIn messages. I was hoping that you would start from there, but
Gotcha.
maybe it's bad on my part. This is just a blog, which shouldn't be even a priority, to be honest. And maybe it's redundant to be there because it's not updated. And the GitHub part of it is just I use GitHub Pages as a free blog page. There's nothing more to it, to be honest.
Okay. Then it seems like you have your portfolio in the Google Drive. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't have a separate website for it, but I use Google Drive.
Okay, so would this be is this the right
Yeah.
file that I should be looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Resume is at the web.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, portfolio, game designer, project manager. So first when I open this up is kind of information overload and I'm not really sure where to look. And then this is one separate project, correct?
Yes.
So you have a lot of content here, and this is great. I love the screenshots. I like the explanation of things. I see that you have the arrows to the text or the text and the arrows for what they represent in game. That's great. The breakdown. It's just that now you have to really guide the reader through what you want them to look at. So when I open this up, I'm like, oh my God, there's so much text on the screen. I'm not sure where to look at. There's a lot of images, and I just don't really know where to go. So one thing that I do recommend with this type of stuff is I like GIFs, or GIFs are great because you have a lot of still images. I don't really get a
Yeah.
lot of what's going on with the game when you have just still images, especially for this type of game. So I can see it's some type of tactics game or territorial acquisition. And then there's just a lot of text going on. So what I would recommend, let me see. I think I recently, go ahead.
So okay, I mean I don't want it to be like an excuse. It's
Mm-hmm.
just I was using Mac Freeform app on Mac, which was kind of really helpful in creating this formatless portfolio. But
Mm-hmm.
one thing which lacks is the addition of basically GIFs and also exporting as a PDF and uploading it on Google Drive is kind of problematic. When it's a GIF, I think it doesn't play.
Mm-hmm.
I am hoping to get a separate or my own personal portfolio website and use those things there. It's just so far, at least in my application so far, this is what I've used.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, what I would recommend, since you're a game designer, is that
Yeah,
when a recruiter comes to your portfolio, let's say you have a website, the way that your website is designed is going to be an ultimate deciding factor in whether or not they're going to look at your portfolio and view you as a proper game designer to begin with. So
yeah,
if you are a game designer, you're a system designer, that requires a lot of organization. And then if you
yeah,
like interdepartmental communication, then that means you have to express information in a way that is easily digestible to anyone that may read it, no matter what department. And really, it
yeah.
should just be readable by anybody if you sit them down and say, hey, can you read this for me? So that's going to be one of your goals. So one thing that I will say about Drive, having your portfolio on Drive, is that I know it works in some cases, but it's kind of foreign and you have to click through files and it's not as interactive as an actual website would be. So, yes, I would recommend that you get on Wix and then go
And
ahead.
just for the viewing experience, can we start from my resume page? I believe with the way I structured there, it would be actually, you wouldn't have to go over Drive or Drive folders or anything like that. Like links will be separately there. And by the way, I don't, I accept or I don't reject the way you browse it. This is a possible way to browse it. It's
Mm-hmm.
just I didn't design the experience to be experienced that way, but
Mm-hmm.
that's also my fault, I believe.
No, completely fine. Then Unreal Samurai 33, what up, Tyvik? Glad you feeling better, bro. I'm glad I'm feeling better too. Feeling good. Harvey Bickett, welcome to the build, my man. The realest one in the industry. Love you, Ty. Love you too, my man. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to give you the information straight. So, sure, you came here to get help. I'm helping you. So,
Yeah.
you take the information as you want to. So, it's all good.
No, I
And
will
then,
work on those. I am taking my notes. Thank you.
okay. And then remember, you'll be able to play this video back once it gets done
Yeah.
uploading after the stream. So, no worries if you miss anything. So, overall, the less clicks, the better.
Yeah.
Your resume is not the starting point. Your portfolio should be. And you
Okay.
shouldn't rely on your resume as a gateway into everything else. So, what I would recommend is that you do have that website, you do have your resume. You can have your resume on LinkedIn, but your resume is to be gotten from your portfolio. So, you really have to put that emphasis on your portfolio. You want them to go here. You want them to see the projects that you've worked on. So, like for me, Warzone, The Last of Us, multiplayer, and The Last of Us Part 2. Once I get to this page, Super simple. I have projects. Okay, I want to learn more about it. I click on this. Okay, now here's a little video. Here's my information. And then I can scroll down the page and I easily know what to read next because it's in chronological order, the way that I want the reader to actually read the page. Now,
True.
one thing I will say about your, how do you say that? Polyton?
Yeah.
Polyton?
Polyton.
So one thing I will say about this page is that you have great illustrations. You have things that are catching my eye. You have things that are interesting. The Steam reviews of all the positives, those are great. It's just too much information and I don't really know where to go. So if you were to add, a video or a small blurb of text with GIFs, then you'd be able to better explain what is going on. And one thing that I don't want you to necessarily do is you don't have to explain everything. Because I see when I look through, you're trying to explain what something, so like water, bridges, and multiple biome tiles. I can see that from the screenshot. So you don't have to break down every single individual component of your project because the premise should be when you're making your website, you want to sell your skill set through your project. You do not want to sell your project. You're selling your project on Steam, but you're selling your skill set and what you're capable of through your project. So don't explain your project too much. Explain what you did, what type of benefit you brought to the team, your interdepartmental communication, and the results of what you did on the team. So that way the recruiter can look through and be like, oh, this guy did this. Oh, he did this. Oh, he's capable of this. That's what you want. You don't want them to be like, okay, well, is he trying to sell me on the project or is he trying to sell me on himself? So make sure you keep that mentality in mind when you're going through this.
Can I ask a quick question?
Of
So
course.
I believe you are right too, and I believe it's too dense and trying to explain too many things. That's one of the problems that I suffered all of my life, basically. So I think one of the main reasons for that is I'm trying to show too many things at the same time, and it's not focused. You might call to for example, the system design role that we talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
The reason being is that it's kind of related to what I mentioned earlier, where I don't really know just from the some of the job applications that I see online or from LinkedIn or from their websites, and customizing to every single one of them is kind of a difficult job, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I try to leave it a little bit generic or general, and focus on that specific system design experience on my other portfolio pieces. What would you suggest, by the way? Like leaving it as a general thing, like where, because I worked on many different aspects during this project, from writing
Mm-hmm.
to project management to game designing the mechanics. So which one should be there, basically?
Which one is your focus?
Would you suggest, for example, creating separate pages for or portfolio pieces for different roles in the same project?
For you, I would consider having a portion of the page, the top portion of the page, the one that you're trying to sell yourself on, you should have that catered towards systems. If that's what you want to do, have it catered towards systems. And then you can have a bottom section at the end where you can say, these are the additional things that I done on this project. But you want to sell yourself in that top section and then just really nail it home. This is what I can do. This is what I'm capable of. And then if you want to explain things a little bit further, then feel free to have that bottom section where you can explain as much as you want to, but you have to make sure that like the first top half of the page is just very concise and executed phenomenally to explain your main focus, and then you can explain your secondary things below that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for pointing out. The truth is, even if I know it as a concept, when you go through it, it kind of becomes blatant. So it's actually an eye-opening experience for me. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, I've been there. When you when you're working on your portfolio, your resume, whatever, you get tunnel vision and you don't know what you don't know until somebody tells you. So no worries. And
Do you
then
also say that? Yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead. Do you also say that, like, you mentioned resumes are not the starting point or should not be the first point of contact, maybe? Because uh, do you stand like do you stand by it? Shall I put less focus on this page and more on creating my own portfolio page like yours, so that from the first glance the projects can be seen like right up? So this guy, endless space to or tailwords, banner lords, and then my indie project basically, a single look, a single glance. Mhm.
I would say, well, I need to update this. So let's compare these side by side. So here's my resume. Then let me put that right there, and then I'll bring yours up.
Mhm.
So my resume is standalone. I want them to be able
Mhm.
to see my resume and I want them to be able to read through it from the top to the bottom. Now, if I send them my resume, there's no links for them to click on. So they're going to read it
Mhm.
from the top to the bottom if they're interested in what I say at the top, and then I explain myself well enough to the point where they want to continue reading. Now, not to even worry about the content within your resume. If you give somebody your resume, you have a link to your Google Drive, you have a link to your blog page through GitHub, you have a link to your mail, LinkedIn, and then you have individual links in your resume that goes elsewhere.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like the choice. It's it's the curse of too many choices. So you give me your resume, and then if I tell you to pick your favorite color, and there's like 50, or not favorite color, but if I tell you to pick a color that is appealing out of like 50 colors, and then you're gonna have to be stuck with this color for the rest of your life, and you can't see any other colors in your life ever again, and you have 50 colors, then you're gonna be like, oh my god, like which one do I choose? Well, I got this factor to worry about, that factor to worry about. But if I gave you one choice, you wouldn't even have a choice. And so you would just deal with it. Or if I gave you two choices, then you would easily be able to choose between those two choices. And you'd be like, okay, well, I know I don't like green, so I'm going to go with orange. And so what I'm saying is that
Will I,
the
will,
more
will
choices
you
that you
look
give
at the
somebody,
portfolio or CV?
yeah. So if you're going to have links in there, have it to two main places, and that's about it. Too many links lead to too many problems, and then too many links means that, hey, if your link changes or it breaks, then you're gonna have to deal with that.
Mhm.
So what I would recommend for you, we're gonna have to move on soon, but what I recommend for you is to make sure that you create a website. I love Wix. I advocate for Wix. Squarespace is a little bit too simplistic with not enough in-depth features, but Wix allows you to make something quick, and then it allows you to modify it in depth as much as you want to get a nice effect. Now, I used to be so self-conscious about making sure I pay for the website so I can have, just tyvikstarworth.com without the docs.wixsite.com. I don't think it matters anymore. Recruiters just want to see a portfolio. They don't care about the link. So Wix is free. I'd recommend going ahead and do that, and then figure out how to set up the way that you want to format your information. In the top section, remember that you need to sell yourself on systems design. Any additional information, you can just put that at the bottom, and you can pile on as much as you want to, but make sure that the top of the page gets through easily, or make sure that what you want to do, which is system design, is actually very well executed at the top so they know what you're about. And then
I see.
your resume, make it boring, make it simple, make it clean, just like mine here on the right. It's no bells and whistles or anything. Simply states what my skills are, my experience, so on and so forth. There's no links.
Fair enough. Shall I like also, for example, in the second portfolio piece,
Hmm.
there are some deep dives into how I maybe how I solved some problems. And for example, while browsing your portfolio or a couple of others or other people too, the level of depth varies.
Hmm.
I like yours as a like a you know what you did, but not always very in depth, right? So
Hmm.
not sometimes not very specific problems, or maybe something very might be interesting for that field. So what's the degree there? Should it be like shallow, like just tell that okay, this project, this roles, and this, or I believe like maybe I overdone it. By the way, is it way too detailed the way I explained? May I?
Hmm.
Can I go over a single example if you have the time for a couple of more minutes?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So can you open the second portfolio entry from my resume?
Okay. Oh,
It's
I guess I could just click straight from the resume, right?
it's on
S-
the
This right here.
yes, it is on the second game designer for yeah, okay, that's fine too. For endless space, the first link on the very left. Yes, no.
No. Okay, one sec. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to your resume. There we go. Okay, yeah. See, that's I didn't realize those are two separate links, but go ahead.
Yes, the first one. And you can scroll down, for example. Just I'm just going to ask for a very specific part.
Okay.
So on this, I basically lay out the system and combat design overview here, the board which I worked on, and a piece of the design document that I prepared. Do you think the detail is maybe too much, or because the thing is, by the way, just to give you a context, the recruiter that I talked with from Ubisoft, and I'm truly not making this up, said that they basically called me for an interview because they saw this in the portfolio piece.
Okay. This certain section right here,
Yeah, the whole page, basically.
the whole page. Okay. Now, depending on who looks at your portfolio, some of them have a little bit more time. Some of them are a little bit more focused. But if you want to eventually go towards AAA, then that means that you're gonna have very minimal time for them to look through your whole page of what you're doing. Now, one thing that I do love all the information that you provide, but at a glance, I have no context of what that's actually doing. So that's where the GIFs come in. That's where the videos come in, to where I can actually see that gameplay element actually moving and doing things. And then you explaining things after that, that is money. So if these UIs are in the game, and then this image right here actually moves in the game, then let me see that, so that way I can see how everything moves, and then you can explain it. But that's what I would have to say. Everything that you have here is very well explained. I just would want more like visual representation when it, as far as GIFs and videos, to actually let me see your project in action instead of so many still shots, which it's hard to do videos in Google Docs.
Fair enough. Um, Still, thank you very much, by the way. I believe most of the things that you said, I needed to hear them, and I will work on it. And I agree to most of them too. So thank you. I truly thank you for taking the time and doing this for all of us out there. And I know that like you, from the sector that you come, like from the US AAA,
Mm-hmm.
is basically the creme of the like, top of the top. So
So I hope this helps. And then, feel free to reach back out to me once you get your website up and running. And then, I can give you tips and advice and whatnot on that. So,
I would love a follow up if you spare the time. Thank you very much.
of course. All right. Glad to have you.
Take care and keep doing what you're doing.
Will do. Okay. Let's see. A better player said, I made mine on Wix and it slaps, in my opinion. LOL. Yeah, Wix is the site. Wix is definitely the site to be making your portfolio on. It's so intuitive to use. You can get as in depth with it as you need, or as simplistic as you need. So it's good, and I highly recommend it. Then Ryan said, thanks for doing what you do, Tyvik. Of course, I love helping y'all out. And we're going to get the next person on here really, really soon. We got Alec up next. So Alec, if you're still in the chat, thank you for your patience. Thank you for waiting. I'm about to send you a link so you can get on the collab cam. And then Nova said, I just realized one of your projects, Tyvik, is on the SCAD page for the game design degree. That's pretty awesome. Is it? I actually did not know that at all. That's pretty dope. Knight said, Tyvik the GOAT. Good look. Semper Collide +1 for Wix. I'm using it now and it's great. Arclight said, how many people might we be seeing tonight? I'm going to try to go a little bit faster, so hopefully we can get about 5 more people in here. And then Ryan said, I made mine on Squarespace and it was both easy and annoying. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are just pointlessly blocked off from the dev, but otherwise it was really nice. Luke said, very interesting. I've been told the opposite about links on resumes, but I definitely trust you, Tyvik. Maybe that's something new. If you have links on your resume, make sure you keep it at a bare minimum. That's all I ask. But then again, I'm not a recruiter. I'm just giving y'all information that I know. I like the boring and basic, and that's what I've been told by recruiters who work at these AAA companies, is that they do like boring and basic resumes with only minimum amount of links. You don't need a link for every single project on your portfolio. At best, you can have a link to your LinkedIn and your portfolio, and then that's all you need. 2 links right there. Jonathan said, I got to get my website to look like Ty's. Now, listen, I'll take that as a compliment. Listen, it took me 20 different iterations to actually get to this type of portfolio, so it's not easy. And one thing, I know that I show my portfolio a lot, but don't copy it verbatim, because after a while, a lot of y'all are going to be copying my style, and recruiters are going to know who y'all been watching, which is not a bad thing, but I want you all to have that individual style to your portfolios to truly make it yours. So copy mine to practice the look and the aesthetic, but make sure you add your own twist on top of there. And then Alec, let's see, did you get back to me? Maybe not. If you don't get back to me in the next 30 seconds, then I'm going to have to move on, which is fine. You can catch another one. Okay. Okay, we might be moving on. On to the next. Okay, we got Joe Francia up next. Hopefully you are still in here. Jonathan said, have you gotten to check out Spider-Man 2? I have, and it is amazing. Now I haven't played. I really didn't play. I guess the previous Spider-Man and then the Miles Morales DLC that they added on. Didn't really get into that. I played a little bit of the Miles Morales game spinoff. I don't know if it's a separate game or DLC. I'm not for sure, but I did play that one, and I only played it for about 30 minutes, and I was like, it's not for me. And the most like I guess the most recent Spider-Man that I was into was Spider-Man 2 back on the PS2. And I remember delivering the pizzas and accidentally popping the little girl's balloon. And I just played this one, and it was phenomenal. Like the opening bits, like the blockbuster action, the I felt like a superhero. It was just like action after action after action, and I absolutely loved it. And the traversal is top notch. It feels exactly how it felt the first time I played Spider-Man 2 on the PS2, as far as just the whimsical nature of just feeling like you can just like traverse mighty spaces and like web sling, and it's good. That's all I'm saying. It's good. Nick in the building. Glad to see you back in here, my man. You typically not late. Typically not late. Excuse me, y'all. I have been up for quite some time today. Okay, collab cam. Let's see. Joe, how you doing?
You know what made Spider Man 2 the best? It understood that the whole point of the game was web slinging. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
wasting our time with an overcomplicated like fight and counter system or sneaking or anything like that. The whole game was just like Tony Hawk, but with spider webs. But I do feel like they sort of got that back a little bit with the new one. I feel like it's just so on point.
You just nailed it. Yeah. Yeah. They cared about the web slinging and the traversal, and it's just absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, it shows. It absolutely shows.
Okay, cool. Got the website link up and running. Perfect. Okay, senior game engineer at Jam City. So tell me a little bit about, what you do, what your goals are, what you're into, and then we'll get to it.
All right. I'm currently a Unity developer with about 6 years of experience. I've also done work as a game designer and a producer. Um, the role I'm currently in is very, very technical. I would like to move my career in a more creative direction. Ideally, I think like if I had to pick one role, it would be like a technical game designer. Weirdly, I could also see myself being happy as like a product manager, like which is creative but also very business oriented. I don't have a really clear path to that right now. So for the sake of this, I think if we focus on technical game designer, that might be a little more clear. All of my experience is in mobile for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm interested in moving in any direction where I could be both creative and technical, basically.
Okay, gosh. So that you do know that technical game designer can mean, depending on which studio you go to, it can mean that you just support the development team, or in other places, it means that you're able to actually create mechanics as
Mm.
well. Are you aware of that?
Uh, I wasn't as such. I'm definitely more interested sort of in the creating mechanics aspect. Just so you know, just so long as I'm like doing some design, some creative work, but I also get to go in and do scripting or like play with the engine myself. I think I would get kind of bored if I just had to write design documents and hand them off to technical people. Like I
Mm-hmm.
really sort of like to wear both hats. Um, but yeah.
Technical game designer speaking my language. I love it. Okay, so you are a senior game engineer. So have you thought about gameplay programming at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've done gameplay programming in the past, and anytime I see something that's like gameplay programming oriented, I definitely try and angle myself in that direction. Um, yeah, the current role I have is so intensely technical. It feels like I'm just a software engineer, like I would be. at any other company, and it's like that's not why I got into this. Want to get
Gotcha.
some of that creative stuff going.
I definitely understand. Okay. So let's see. And then are there any like top things you want my guidance on or my opinion on within your profile, your portfolio, or your resume?
I'm pretty open to anything. It's I've been meaning to come through and sort of polish up everything. It's all a little bit stale. It's up to date, but it's just like I haven't, really worked with the details in a while. So I'm pretty open to all of your thoughts. Anything that you think would make me look more attractive for the types of roles I'm interested in. I am 100% here for it.
Okay. Okay. So first things first, if you want to be a technical game designer, then have that title. You can put senior technical designer because you've been in the industry for a while. But that'll let people know that hey, you're in the creative space as well, technical and designer. Because right now you're senior game engineer. I'm like, this man loves the code. That's all he wants to do. He wants to be purely technical. So having a designer
Yeah,
somewhere in that title
yeah,
would be nice for you.
absolutely.
Okay, passionate game developer and producer with a strong background software, a strong background in software engineering, game design, and data analysis. Expert in Unity 3D, rapid prototyping, agile development, and making things fun. Led several team projects from concept to completion. Nice. Proven track record as a creative problem solver, dedicated team player, and ambitious self-starter. Also decent at ping pong. Nice. Being good at ping pong is like wizardry to me.
Decent. The core word there is decent. The moment you have to start doing that like slicing thing, forget it. If I see my opponent doing that, I just quit. I'm done.
Yeah, that takes some mad hand-eye coordination. Okay. So, senior game engineer, passionate game developer, producer. You get back to software engineering right here, game design, and data analysis. So, you're telling me like 6 different things all at once, and I really can't focus on one thing. So, if you change this to like senior technical designer, and then you say, hey, I am a technical designer who is also strong as a producer and or who is a strong producer and also great in data analysis, then that gives me like your main focus, and then you tell me all the other stuff that you're good at.
Okay,
But I guess kind of trickle all of this out a little bit into like all of this.
for
Seeing
sure.
seeing expert there, that's great. Agile development, nice. Making things fun, that's always a great thing. Leadership, that's also a good thing or a thing that you should try to sell yourself on, especially if you've done it from concept to completion. And then, of course, tell me the result of those things, not just what you're about. If there's any like accolades that you can put right there. As far as our year experience, a year and 7 months at Game or Jam City, game developer there for 11 months, and then you have some of the things you've done there. That's great. Yeah, all of this other stuff looks good. Worked at Nickelodeon. Awesome. Okay, all of this stuff looks good. I would just clean up your title for what you want to go towards, and then your about section, and then you're good to go. You have your website and your contact info. Faisal, appreciate you for subscribing. Hope I said that right. Interesting. Okay. I guess you can just copy your link right there. Okay, so let's go to your website. What's up? Okay, so I'm gonna get into the mode of viewing this for the first time and things that I would expect to see once I click on this. And so I see your name up top. That's great. Game developer, software engineer, project manager. I would say once you find the title that you want to call yourself, just call yourself that. And then
Okay.
you can explain these things further on throughout your portfolio, because all of this starts to make you sound like a jack of all trades, which you don't necessarily want to be. And then technical game or senior technical game designer, that kind of covers like both of these.
Okay.
And then project manager, you can always explain through leadership within your actual portfolio pieces. And then cool, I see your face in the place. What's up? I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to read this when I first get here. I want to see what you're about, and then I want to read this. So what I would expect is that I go to your page and it actually takes me to your portfolio page immediately. So this way I can be like, oh, okay, project, another project. Okay, this looks cool. And then actually you've created so many projects.
I've actually trimmed it down, believe it or not.
Not bad. Yeah, so this lets me know that this guy has experience. And I love the fact that you have GIFs, so it gives me a hint on what the gamers are actually doing. And then like seeing the bees fly around, that's also great. And then it's so many options that I don't even know which one that I want to click on. So GIFs as thumbnails is a great touch. Then I click on that. And then what are these links right here? Oh, these are.
Oh, those are like filters.
I see.
I'm working with a Wix template. I was just sort of trying my best.
Okay. I would pick like your top 3 that you want to show off, or your top 4, and then put all the other ones into like a category. Doesn't have to be college projects, but put all of those into a like others projects, because you really want to highlight your best projects, not all of your projects. And on your page right now, you're highlighting all of your projects, and I assume the best projects that you have are at the top, but I can keep on scrolling and I don't really know where to start. So
I hear that.
And then take away this bar for game design, engineering, and production. You can explain that within the projects themselves.
Okay.
Then experience. Okay, cool.
This is really rusty.
Okay, yeah, I just replace this with your resume.
Okay.
Yeah. And then contact. I'd actually recommend you do something kind of like about in contact like I have here. I just have my picture right here. And then I also need to update this as well. I am not currently working on Call of Duty Warzone as a technical designer, but this is less clicks. It combines 2 of those pages into one. And then so you don't have to worry about too many options on your webpage.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has used the contact me page in like the 6 years I've had this thing live, so.
Okay. But yeah, that's, and then let me click on one of these pages. So Eco Tower. Play it on Android. I love that. One thing that I would recommend is that you have Play on Android, but you have some type of like Google Play icon on there.
Okay.
Because like my mind, when you have like Google Play, it's like, oh, like that's a known image. Like I see that on my phone every single day. And
that makes sense.
It just kind of matches it one for one. So I don't even have to read it. I just see the icon and I'm like, oh, this is out. I can play this. Okay, that's a little bit long. I want to know information about the project as it pertains to you first before you start to explain things. And then remember here that you're trying to explain your skill set through the project, not the actual project itself. So explain the project enough to where I get a gist of what's happening, but I want to know about you.
Gotcha.
And so you'll see that you go to one of my pages, go to Last of Us multiplayer, and then didn't really have a lot of info that I could say about this, but it pops up. You see the company, the tenure, the tools that I use, the overview, and then it immediately gets into my roles and ownerships. And then I have no other information on this page except for written information, no GIFs, no videos, but I break down as much as possible what I done to make myself look good, not the project, because I can't show the project, but yeah. And then since you actually, do I have, here it is. I always show off Bader's project, his portfolio, because I think it's very well done. But since you actually have a lot of content already out there, I can send you this right now, actually, if you want to look at it a little bit later. But I like Bader's portfolio because he incorporates a lot of GIFs in there, and you can see that he took a little bit of my advice by having the platform, the duration, the roles that he did, the trailer up top, and then his responsibilities. But he also laid out information in a way where you have a lot of information on the page, but you have GIFs and videos and everything to have to break the text. So you can kind of get the gist of the project just from watching the videos and whatnot, but you can also find out more about it by reading the text below. And since you already have a lot of footage that you can but you can use from the games and the projects that you've worked on, I would recommend this type of format.
Okay, perfect.
And then, of course, spin it in a way that explains it best for you. But yeah, I would say though, all in all, like, you have the content, you know how to explain yourself. You just have to do a little bit of restructuring, and that's pretty much it. But all in all, this is a great portfolio.
Thank you. In terms of pushing for like a technical design type role, got a quick question. My portfolio, it's got two pieces. It's got like games. I also, maybe because I'm a little too proud of them, but I have in there like a couple of pitch decks for games that never got made that I made for clients. Do you think that is anything anyone would want to see, or am I just sort of wasting space? I've got some pitch decks, and I think I just like at least one example design doc in there.
Make it a button. If they want to click on it, they can, and it's right there.
Okay.
Yeah. Some people may like that, depending on the company.
Yeah.
Some people may not even care about that. And then some recruiters or some people who actually look at your portfolio, they're not really akin to, they might not know about technical designer per se, but they know a good portfolio, and it looks like you can do what you can do. So they might send that off to the team. The team might look at your portfolio and, skim through it. And then if they're really interested in you and they need you for that very specific thing about, being able to pitch, that's mostly going to be like a leadership type role, then the button is right there, and they can see your pitch deck and see how you format information and how you pitch. So it can only help.
Cool.
But make it opt in.
Cool.
And then, yeah, that's pretty much the only thing. Welcome to my site. I'm a game developer and software engineer living in NYC. I specialize in Unity 3D, rapid prototyping, and making stuff fun. The way you explain yourself, you even sound like a technical game designer.
I hope that's a good thing.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, and then I'd say clean all of this up. You don't need links and everything to say, hey, go here for this, go here for that. Tell me about you, be unapologetically you, and then tell me what's up with you. If your links are set up properly, the contact section, I can see contact up here. I know where to go. You don't need that link. So,
okay.
Yeah. You're good.
Thanks, man. Thanks a lot for the review, and thanks for doing everything you do. All of us really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Glad to do it. All right. I'll catch you, Joe.
See you later.
Okay. Who's next? And then Alex said, no mic tonight. It's all good. I'm going to have another one. And then if you want to do a portfolio review, you will be one of the first people in line. So no sweat, no problem. Now we're going to move on to the next person. Let's see. Noah, are you still in the chat? You still here? Cool. Nova said, I had a AAA hiring manager review my portfolio recently, and he went through everything. I mean, stuff I forgot I had on there, everything. So at least in that case, they will look. It's a very thorough hiring manager. Luke asked, did you say you're doing this again on Sunday? Actually, let me see. I might not even be able to do that on Sunday. If you all don't know, I'm going to be a speaker or a keynote speaker for the Shawnee Game Design Conference hosted in Ohio, and that's going to be on November the 4th. So I may bypass this Sunday because I need to prep for that. And so I'm going to try to do another portfolio review sometime later this week, maybe on Friday. Probably on Friday, so that way I can at least get another portfolio review session in, so I don't have to worry about trying to clutch that time next Sunday. Okay. Noah, how's it going?
Hi, how you doing, Tavik? Can you hear me?
Doing good. I can hear you loud and clear.
Sweet. Glad to be here.
Cool. I see you got the nice mic set up too.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Gotta make sure I come through loud and clear, you know?
I love it. Okay, 1 second. We'll pull up your profile right here. In Hawaii. Did you get affected by the fires over there at all?
Thankfully, no, I didn't. I had a lot of family and friends who were close to it. A couple of friends who did get affected, but they're all honestly just happy to be alive. Some people lost their lives. They're just grateful that they're still able to help out the community and be a part of it.
That's a great mentality. So nobody got injured in your family, your friends?
Yeah. Thankfully, I was coming home from work the day it was happening, and there's actually 4 fires going on, and one of them was about 10 minutes above my house, so that was definitely a really big scare. But thankfully, the fire crews are super strong and brave out there, and they clean everything up as fast as possible and as efficient as possible.
Love to hear it. I'm glad you stayed safe, man. Okay. Then Ryan asked, will you be at BlizzCon? I've actually never been to BlizzCon before. That's a good question. I'll have to find out. Not for sure. Then Luke said, nice, good luck on the talk. Friday works great and doesn't coincide with the design din one on Sunday. Cool. Okay, so Noah, I see you like combat, and I see you're a game designer. So I assume you want to go towards combat designer. But tell me a little bit about yourself, what your goals are, and then what you want me to look at for your profile, portfolio, and resume.
Yeah, of course. So first of all, I'm a senior at Marist College, majoring in games and emerging media. I'm currently in my fall semester, and going into spring, I'll be graduating this coming May. My main goal right now is to just try and build my skills as a combat and AI designer, really specialize in that role and make sure that I can impress companies in the industry with my skills and I'm meeting their expectations and qualifications. My main goal right now is, while achieving that, looking at associate and entry level positions in the industry to go right into right once I finish college.
Hmm. Okay. Not bad, not bad. I always love seeing people who are very interested in combat while they're still in school, because there's not enough great combat designers out here, and it I don't know if you know this, but combat design is actually a very niche specialization.
Yeah, after doing a lot of research and seeing your very inspiring talks and just content in general, I kind of first starting off, I just loved game design in general. I'm super creative and had that aspiration for wanting to create things and more specifically just captivating experiences for people that just give them joy and that transport them to this like other kind of world where they're just like at peace almost, you know? So I over the years I've trying to really target that niche of what exactly I want to do in game design because it is such a broad category.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my games in my projects, I ended up doing a little bit of AI, and my professor was very impressed and said I should try to stick more to that. You know, it's a good role to be in. Not a lot of people do it, and it's something that if I really stick to it and become great at it, I can like excel in the industry. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do.
Not bad. Yeah, if you actually excel in that, you're gonna have too many job offers that you know what to do with. So good territory to be in. And I see under here your connections with Dom Cilio. Have you talked to him at all?
Yeah, I have. I actually just messaged him the other day, and we're planning a chat this Friday, so I'm really looking forward to that. I've been doing a lot of research on that and getting some questions prepared for him, and hopefully I'm gonna have a good chat with him.
Hey, that is a very knowledgeable man when it comes to AI and enemy design. So you make sure you go in there with a notebook and a mind to just be curious.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to just absorbing like a sponge.
Okay, so you want to do combat design. So with that in mind, let's go through your profile and then get to your portfolio and then your resume. And then one question before we start: have you done any type of networking class or portfolio class so far?
Um, what do you mean by that? So
So
like
have
networking with people or like networking like AI like across different like computers.
So I'm talking about networking online, talking to people, getting connections. Has there been a course where you go over or you design a portfolio, your resume, how you need to go ahead?
Yes, yeah. I'm currently in a course called Employment Practicum right now, where we're kind of going over that. It's mostly online, so I've been having to, you know, find my own resources like yourself, Amir, and other various game developers who are trying to help out new recruits in the industry. So I've been kind of just doing my own thing while I'm using that resource in class for a good backup as well. But I've been taking your advice on networking, and
Hmm.
every day I try to at least connect with 5 people. You know, send a short message out, and after that, I've actually received probably 3 or 4 just over the past 3 days. So it does
Okay,
work. You know, it does really help a lot, and I feel like that is definitely the best way.
love to hear it. You sound like you making all the right plays. Okay, let's get into it. So combat in game designer, perfect. And it says you're still a senior. And then one thing, one second. Drink some water right quick. Now, I'm not for sure if this really matters a lot, but I thought that it mattered for me. You're new to LinkedIn. I would assume since you have 85 connections, what I would like to see is that you try to get up to 500 connections as fast as possible without spamming. So, 85 connections, I'm like, okay, he just joined. He's not a seasoned in networking. But if the more and more connections that you get, the closer to 500 that you get, the more seasoned that you appear online and the more established that you appear online. So what you're doing, reaching out to people, making sure you connect, that is great. try to get to that 500 number by the time that you graduate or the time that you start wanting to apply towards internships, which I guess you can start applying right now.
Yeah, that 85 was actually probably accumulated within the past week. After doing a lot of research, I was kind of on LinkedIn for the past year, really dominantly, but I was kind of always afraid and didn't know how to network, or just like, is it really worth it? Just shoot a connect and then like not say anything. But after doing a lot of research and just experimenting with it, I have started to accumulate a good process into networking. Not trying to just mass spam, just send out maybe 5 connects a day with a nice, quick, short, little message explaining who I am, what I'm trying to do, and if I could pick their brains for any insights or if they can give me any feedback on what I'm trying to do right now.
Perfect. Keep on doing that. Keep that up. Okay, and then Ryan said, how many would you say is enough connections, Tyvik? Obviously, the more the better. There's not really enough because everybody's going to view the connection count differently, but it caps out at 500, and then after 500, it's like 500 plus connections. So just really going up to that 500 connection number is great, not just because you want people to see that you're established, but if you have 500 connections, that means you have 500 people that you could potentially reach out to get more information. And not every single connection is going to be a connection that's going to be ultimately beneficial, but at least having connections, you'll be opening up your network. And then if you go to a page like I went to Noah's page and I see that he has connections with Dom Cilio. We already talked about that, and I can see that he has a connection with Jack Burrows, which is a really great level designer. So you'll start to open up your network and see your connections, and then you can start to reach out to people because you're like, hey, I can see that you're connected to so and so. Mind if we chat? And then it only makes you stronger. So the number is not just a number, it's actually your gateway into being able to connect with even more people. So do keep that in mind. Okay. So about section, hey, I'm Noah DeCambra. Is that how you say that?
Yeah, perfect.
A senior at Marist College, specializing in game and emerging media with a focus on design and programming. So you don't need to say a senior at, I guess you can. Senior at Marist College, specializing in games and emerging media. Yeah, it's up here, so it's kind of like you're saying it twice, but I think it might be fine in this case. Focus on design and programming. I'm deeply passionate about crafting captivating gameplay experiences, and I channel my dedication into honing my skills in C#, C++, and Unity during my free time. Great. I'm actively seeking a role where I can apply my game development skills to contribute meaningfully to innovative projects. Let's level up together. Cool. That's good. Now, since you're still in school, this is good. We'll probably need to rewrite this once you get a little bit more experience under your belt. And by experience, I mean, once you get into your senior project and once you get things to start showing that off a little bit more, then you can probably come back over here because you would have made a product and then you would have had results that came from that product that you can then say, hey, this is what I'm really about. I'm a combat designer, but this is the special flair that I bring to it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm just starting on my senior capstone project right now, so I have a very short page on that. But once I start finishing it and getting towards the more completed project, I'll definitely update it.
Cool. Then top skills, C#, game design, Unity, C++, Unreal Engine. Cool. Okay, then Nick said, love having a message with the connection request. That's going to be key instead of just mass clicking connect. Yeah, so it sounds like you're already doing that anyways. Okay, let's continue. So you got your portfolio right here, your resume right there. I love that. That's one of the things that I absolutely love about, students and graduates who just have their portfolio and their resume just right here. So good on you. And then I see that you have a plain, boring resume right there, which is nice. Not trying to do anything flashy right there, so good on you again. Okay, and then one thing that I did, I wish I had kept a screenshot of it, but one thing that you can do for your experience is that your projects have, a tenure. So you can say, hey, started this project right now and I'm still in the throes of it. You can put that under your experience. So if we go to my page right now, under experience, I have, technical combat designer at Sucker Punch Productions. This can be your senior project right here. And then you started it at a certain time and it's going to last a certain time. And then that can be under experience. And then, of course, once you start to solidify what you're doing, then you can start to type in, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This is why you want to hire me.
Yeah, that's great to know. I've heard it's been a like kind of debate whether or not you should put at least school projects underneath your experience, but I do understand where you're coming from when there's like nothing really else you have as a student. I feel like that's kind of the only thing you can put there for now.
And then as well, you can, like, let's say, Naughty Dog is my student project. I can put in parentheses at the end. I can just say student project. So you're not trying to fool anybody. You have the experience. You have the timeline tracking on there. But hey, you let them know, hey, this is a school project, and that's completely fine. But having that experience, that is experience. You are working with a team, and so don't hesitate to go ahead and add that under experience. Okay, let's get back to it. Nice, and I'm wrapping up on a project started in October and planning to publish it soon. So cool. Lets me know that you're active on here, getting certifications. Cool. See, you watched that video with what I did with Next. Nice. Okay, let's go to your portfolio. Cool. Nice animation. Off to a good start. Okay, so when I first get here, things are a little bit. Now, this is just me being nitpicky, but I would say that give projects some room to breathe. So if we go to my portfolio has a little bit of space to breathe and allow you to look at it, and then under that, you have the thumbnails. So that's just like spacing techniques so that
Bit more
things
white
don't compete
space.
in the same space. Yeah, and then Noah DeCambra. That's good. Projects, resume, about, and contact. Let's see. About. Cool. Born and raised in Maui, Hawaii. I've lived most of my life on a small rock in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, eager to explore our breathtaking planet. So my passion for video games first began in elementary school when I had a goal to capture images of our galaxy, the Milky Way. I always dreamt of exploring our universe, and to me, the only realistic way of doing that was through video games. When I got into high school, I began to take game development more seriously and decided to pursue a bachelor's in game development. This was also when I was able to take my first intro to programming and game design class. Cool. Got into it in elementary school. That's an early start.
Yeah, I think PlayStation was the biggest console out back then, and I just remember playing Tomb Raider and just being absolutely captivated in this world where I'm just exploring and doing these different adventures. And like I remember there's this one scene that stuck out particularly to me when there's a tiger like cutscene where the tiger jumps in front of you when you're about to enter the tomb, and that was just like pinnacle for me back then. Like I'm just like, oh my god, I'm about to fight this tiger with my bare hands. Like this is crazy.
That's awesome. I remember back in the day, I thought Tomb Raider was like low key a horror game because when you got to,
It was.
because like the butler would follow you around everywhere, and I was always so freaked out by him for some reason.
It definitely was one of those games that keeps you on your edge.
Oh, it does definitely. Okay, I would combine these into one page. You don't need a separate buttons up here for this one page. So just put this all in one page. I would shrink this or this whole box right here so that way you get to see this at the bottom. and then just go ahead and do about/contact, similar to what I have on my page, because you're just telling me the same information, or you're telling the same information that I'm telling as well. And then your resume. Cool, love it. Simple and clean. Programming languages. Software. Game development experience. Flight or flirt. September 23. Okay. Yeah, like all of these, you can put this in your experience as well for right now, just so that you have something to fill out your LinkedIn. Design and immersive. Created a versatile player controller to walk, run, jump, and shoot, to destroy and move objects. Then work experience. Okay. Yeah, all of this looks good. Along your journey of going through your senior project and learning how to better self-market yourself online, this resume is probably going to change. And then as you get more accolades and start to become more used to the lingo that the industry uses, you might go in, here and there, and then change some wording to make it a little bit more one-for-one match with job applications. But so far, this is a good base. This is a good resume template. Everything's easy to read. Nothing is distracting me. And you've been able to fill in quite a bit of information just on this one page. So that's great.
Sweet. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And then what I recommend is that once you start to seriously apply for internships, reach back out to me. And then we can go over your resume and your portfolio once again, so that we can make sure that since you do have a little bit more experience at that time, you've done some senior projects and you're finishing up marketing that, then we can make sure you have everything that you need in order to be able to market yourself the best way that you can.
Yeah, definitely do that. Thank you.
And then since you're a combat designer, and I love showing off this man's portfolio because it's so good, I'm going to send this to you so you can have as a reference for how to show off your combat a little bit better. And then so you can have that as a reference. Okay. Now this, like the animations, all your projects are right here. One thing that I would recommend is that, this is just a nitpick, like since this is already, pretty good, is that you make the text a little bit more easy to read, so maybe a little bit bigger, or add more drop shadows so it sticks out from the image a little bit more. Because like right now I'm looking at free fall and I can make it out, but it's getting a little bit mixed in with your actual UI from the game.
Okay.
But very nitpicky. Okay, cool. Video at the top. Nice. You got your role right there, team size, platform, type, college project. Okay, lead gameplay programmer. All this looks good. Got GIFs. Can click on them. Good. Lead game designer. So you had done some level design. And then these are all GIFs. Okay, and this is not your senior project, right? Or is it?
It is, and we're only about like a month and a half in. So the way my school's game design courses are made aren't typically the best in my opinion, because they're short, and we've also had our lead professor kind of go off into a different career path halfway through my college experience. So that was really unfortunate. So they were kind of scrambling around to get a new professor, and we had a temporary professor for my whole junior year, which was really unfortunate.
Hmm.
But a lot of the courses are designed to give you kind of a broad sense of information. So in all my design courses, it was kind of 2 week small projects, and I know that wasn't going to work out best in the long run. So I talked to my professors and said, "Hey, listen, is it okay if I do these 2 week projects, but combine them onto one project where I meet each requirement?" And
Hmm.
some of them were okay with that, and some of them were kind of a bit negligent to that. So I did my best with what I had, and I did a lot of projects where I worked on them for only 4 weeks, but I try to meet certain goals. So for free fall, the goals for that was we need to have a save system, procedural generation, and um, I think a shop or customization system. And so I
Hmm.
met all those requirements within one game, and that's kind of what I tried to explain. And I'm also still working on it in my free time as a solo project because I want to do more and add more to it to make it a really like huge polished game that can be sold on Steam and get like a lot of publicity off of it.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And then for my senior project, we actually are only supposed to have 4 months for the capstone project. And I noticed after looking at other schools' capstone projects, most colleges offer 6 to 8 months. So I again talked to my professors and said, "Hey, I know we have game studio and games capping. Is it okay if I can possibly do that one project for both courses? You know, me and my team are really we love this project and we've had to cut the scope down a lot, and we would love to get the opportunity to work on it for a full 8 months and
Hmm.
really polish it and make it a nice looking indie game instead of just having two smaller projects that were scoped down a lot and are only made in 4 months, you know." And
Okay.
they're debating whether or not we can do it right now, but they said it's a big maybe. And either way, my team and I are definitely going to finish the project and work overtime if it takes another 4 months in our free time. But, you know, we'll do what we got to do to get it done.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a really good play. Now, if you, how long are the semesters?
So each semester is 4 months. And the other courses I took were the 4 months, but every 2 weeks for that whole 4 months was a different project. It was never a finalized project. It was just like, hey, make something that does procedural generation. Okay, show me how to use what is it, an observer pattern, stuff like that. So it wasn't really great for building actual resume portfolio projects, but I did what I could.
Okay, yeah. If you want a little bit more fuel to the fire for your side of progressing with a project for a longer time, you can say that professors or whoever you're talking to, this is not enough time to actually get to understand and know how to finish a project. Now or how to polish and then finish an actual game. So we've done the smaller projects, we've done those within the time frame, we've been able to put a bow on those projects and complete them, but we haven't been able to learn how to develop and design a game to its completion where it has polish. We've thought about, scoping, and we've had to scope down, and we've been taught on how to, hey, we're never doing this because we simply don't have enough time. We'd rather just go ahead and build on what we have and polish, 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 and like really get into depth to make a more complete game. That's one part that I wish that I knew about more in college, because you don't get to the end of a game and then progressively get to work on it hardly at all in college to the degree that it needs to. So if you can advocate for that, then I would definitely recommend that. Or say, hey, can we get at least like 2 extra months within the next semester to go ahead and polish this and, wrap it up with a nice big bow on it. And then for like the last 2 months or something, then you make a mini project or something. But yeah, fight for what you want to do.
No, yeah,
Because
I plan to do exactly that.
at the end of the day, it's going on your portfolio. It's going to be on your resume, not theirs. Okay. So, yeah, all in all, there's not too much that I can say about your portfolio. You actually have a better portfolio than most people do when they graduate. So, it clearly shows that you're doing your research, you're taking heed to the information that's been put online. It does look like you've been following me and, taking notes and whatnot. And so, yeah, not much I can say. If anything, that I would say it would really be me needing to actually read through everything that you have on here and correcting, wording or things here and there. But as far as what you have right now, you're on the right track. You haven't even graduated yet. You still have some time. You're still working on your projects. You're still fighting to finish your projects. You have quite a bit of projects already. And so you're in a really good spot.
Sweet. Thank you so much again for your time and your feedback. I really appreciate it.
Of course. So just keep on doing what you're doing and then fighting for the type of games that you want to make. But
Yeah, I definitely will.
I have no worries about you.
That makes me feel a lot better. Thank you.
Of course. Okay. Well, do you have any questions that you want to ask me before you get out of here? At least one?
Um, yeah, I would probably ask you, breaking into the industry. I know you said you had that year off where you're kind of struggling to figure out what to do. You know, I'm definitely scared of having that year off, but more importantly, like when do you think it'd be the best time to start applying for like associate and entry level jobs? I've been trying to apply for a lot of internships, but they require you to still be in college after the internship. So since I'm graduating right now, I know a lot of people in the comments are saying Blizzard and stuff like that. I have talked to a lot of Blizzard recruiters, and they have told me that like, yeah, sorry, unfortunately, we can't really make exceptions for that, and that they would help me in their free time with feedback and trying to put me on that right path, but that I need to start looking more towards associate and entry level jobs.
Okay. And then how many people exactly have told you that?
I've talked to 2 recruiters at Blizzard, and then I'm talking to one right now who hasn't responded, but said that they would love to hear or answer any of my questions. So that's kind of what I was talking to them about.
Okay. So you've gotten 2 responses. There's several different companies out there. So continue to look into internships and then, of course, look into associate stuff. But more importantly than anything, if you want to be a combat designers are very scarce within the industry. And then if you keep on doing what you do, keep on learning combat design mechanics and keep on doing what you do, then you should have a really good portfolio by the time that you graduate, enough for an associate level role. You have combat and game designer, so you could potentially go into a technical game designer type of field as well. And then once you're in, then you can start to plan your trajectory towards more combat related roles. So I'm not for sure which roles that you're actually looking for as far as like what title, but keep on applying for internships. If it's not going to take that much time at all, you already seem to have a pretty good resume breakdown, a good portfolio, so it shouldn't take that long at all, just writing a cover letter. But if you're getting into contact with these people, they know your name, and then maybe once it swings around to it and they have an associate position open, they might be like, oh, look, it's Noah. I remember this guy. He was trying to get in for our internship program. Okay, let me look at his portfolio, see what he's done. Okay, he's actually upgraded quite a bit. Okay, well, let me look at him for the associate role. And so keep on reaching out. You get into contact with the right people. Any type of experience you can get with applying is all good. And then if they are going to or are willing to give you the information to increase your skill set or increase the way that you self-market, then keep on doing that, and don't let only like 3 answers discourage you from applying to internship-based roles as well.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that talk with Dominic as well. I'm just so like ready to just absorb as much information from him as possible. I'm looking at all his work and stuff, and he does great stuff in the field. Has like such an extensive amount of background. Like, it's just really exciting.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
I'll let you continue these portfolio reviews. I know everybody really appreciates them, and you're doing the God's work out here. So thank you so much again, Tyvik, and have a great rest of your night.
All right, you too, Noah. Pleasure to chat with you. Okay, y'all, how y'all feeling? We've been doing this for almost 2 hours now. Are y'all still ready to continue and go? Are we tired? Are we dropping out now? Doing great, doing good. Arclight said, don't worry, Noah, you'll get a spot soon. Nick said it's only a matter of time, Noah. Keep getting after it. All the support in the chat. Ori, I seen your comment earlier, but I didn't get a chance to respond with you. Ori in the clutch, welcome back to the chat, my man. Glad to see your name back in the chat, in the building. Always glad to have you here. Ryan said, I'm always tired. Nick said, Energizer Bunny right here. Game Dev Josh, never back down, no matter what. Unreal Samurai, Tyvik's doing God's work. We appreciate all you do, bud. I appreciate it, my man. Trap Tart, thank you, Nick. I got my internship after graduating, so it's very much possible. It very much is. Okay, let's continue. Let me get my link ready. And then we got Ian Percy next. Ian, are you still in the chat? Okay, cool. Just sent you the stream link. So go ahead and get connected to that, and then I'll pop you on the stream. In the meantime, I'm going to get your links ready. And then remember, y'all, if y'all have any questions or anything that y'all want me to ask to the person that's on the screen at the moment, then, go ahead and ask those in the chat. This is interactive. I do see y'all having a good conversation down there, which is always great to see. But if y'all do have any questions, feel free to lay them in the chat, and then I'll get to them. All right, Ian, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Cool. Welcome to the building. Glad to have you in here.
Glad to be here.
Okay, Ian Percy, level designer. Nice, Dallas, Texas. Okay, so before we get into it, you know the drill. Tell me a little bit about yourself, what your goal is, and then I already see that you're a level designer, so what type of level design do you want to get into?
All right, yeah, so my name is Ian Percy, and I am a student.
Your mic is cutting out just a little bit.
Yeah, is there a way to, hopefully this works. I'm tempted to mute the other stream. Yeah, so my name is Ian Percy. I am a senior in arts, technology, and communication at the University of Texas at Dallas. I'm working on my capstone, and I'm focusing on level design, mostly single player. I'm working on a big project right now with a team of 25 to 30 people that's been going on consistently for about 10 months, give or take a few. But I'm really driven by immersive, engaging, story-driven single-player design. And
Okay, so you mean to tell me you're working with 20 to 30 people? Is that all within the university?
This is actually a student-led project based on a game jam. And you'll see it when we check out the portfolio entry as well. So yeah, it's been a lot of hard work.
I bet that sounds like pure chaos as far as communication goes.
A little bit sometimes, but we have a fantastic producer who's been keeping us in check. So
Okay, that's great. Okay, so level designer, Dallas, Texas, University of Texas. Okay, I love level design because I love to teach. I see level design as the most fundamental act of communication with the player. I adore creating fantastical worlds that establish this line of communication while keeping the player immersed and engaged. Nice. I can feel the passion in those statements. Now, one thing that I would add as far as level design is that the level design is driven by what the player can do and what mechanics are available to the player at any given time. So adding a blurb about that relationship will also be really great in this about section right here.
okay, awesome. Thank you.
Because you can't have great level design without knowing what the player can do with it. Okay. God, I love the ramen. That's my favorite thing to eat.
Yeah, not too much industry experience yet, so
Hey, that's fine. You're still in school.
yes, sir.
But like I was telling Noah, if you have projects that you're working on, especially that 20 to 30 people project that you're working on, you can put that in your experience section. And then because that project does have a begin date, you are still working on it, and it will eventually have an end date. And then, of course, you'll be able to describe things that you've done within that project as well. And so I'd say go ahead and slap it in the experience pile, and then just make sure you tell them, hey, this is a student project, and that's fine, but I have experience.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely add that in there.
Okay, portfolio, the resume combination. Love to see it.
I did that while you were reviewing someone else's 10 minutes ago. Put that in there while you.
Hey, quick on the draw. I love it. Okay, 197 connections. Like I was telling Noah, get that up to 500 by the time that you graduate, so you'll feel a little bit more established to the space. And then how dare you not be connected to me yet, so I'm going to send you a connection request.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's get into the portfolio. Nice, open up the portfolio. Thumbnails of the projects that you have worked on. One thing that pops out to me is the archive. What is in the archive? All different types of projects, and I'm sure these are very smaller projects that you've worked on.
A lot of them are just older entries also that haven't been as cleaned up. And I just kind of wanted to focus and show three like main things that I was most proud of.
Okay. So one thing that I would recommend, archive kind of feels like it's dead and gone, and it's kind of in a section where it's like, that can't represent me anymore. So what I would recommend is that you have something to where, like on mine, I have my 3 big set pieces right here, and then below that I have my college projects. So you can easily go ahead and put all of those projects down there, so that way they're within view. You know that they're down at the bottom, so they're not weighted as heavy as the top pieces, but I can still see them, and that actually counts towards your experience quite a bit. And I don't want to have to click on the second page to be like, oh, he's actually done quite a bit.
Noted. Okay.
And then let's see, you got your Twitter handle, your LinkedIn, and then your GitHub. Now I'm a little bit picky about links on your portfolio, because once you have somebody come to your portfolio, you want them to be encompassed in your portfolio space. So I come here and I'm like, oh, he has a Twitter. Let me click on Twitter. Okay, now I'm out of the portfolio. You completely broke my immersion. Now you have some good stuff on here, and that's great. But I would keep these down at the bottom. Down at the bottom, I can see those. I actually seen these first. And I'm like, okay, he has a Twitter. Let me click on that. He has a GitHub. Let me click on that. It's not the focal point, But if I want to, I can click on it. And I think that's great. So I'll probably remove it from up here because this is nice. Or if, let's say you add all these other projects under here, then if you can put them in line over here to the side where it's on the same bar as your portfolio, your about, and your archive, then that's great as well, but off to the side because your external links are not the focus.
Yeah, I'm using Adobe Portfolio, so it definitely has a lot of limitations. I wanted to do like sections like you're suggesting, but I'll definitely migrate at some point.
Yeah, once you get into like your senior project or something, and then you start to want to self-market yourself a little bit better, then definitely. You already know what I'm recommending. You've been here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, was you gonna say something?
No, just yes, sir.
Okay.
Wix all the way.
All right, Grimhook. I'm working as the game designer or the game and level designer on a first-person action platformer, Bullet Hell. Nice. Now, one thing that I do recommend is that on these thumbnails, give me something enticing that I want to click on. So the spaces look daunting. That looks great. This looks nicely laid out. This is still in block mesh form, which is great. I love the color coding that you've done on there so you can see the different elements of the space. But if you can display some type of action or player action on your thumbnails, that's also great as well. Grimhook video at the top. A first-person action platformer, Bullet Hell. Okay, let's click on this.
Grimhook is a first-person action platformer and bullet hell that I worked on as the level and game designer. Over the course of 8 months on this project, I created detailed design documents, drew out level maps, created blockouts, and worked hand in hand with a team of 25 other developers to create a polished experience. Grimhook features fast-paced platforming and arena combat centered around a player character with a kit full of movement abilities. The protagonist wields an anchor on the end of a chain that functions as a grappling hook and whip. This tool allows the player to grapple through the environment and hit enemies to stay in the air, all while stringing together movements with double jumps, dashes, wall running, and more.
And then you narrated that?
Yes, sir.
That's phenomenal video. It's phenomenal footage.
Thank you.
That gameplay looks fun too, looks polished. So one thing that I do recommend, let me go back to this man's page. Y'all know what it is. If you can, like tell off gameplay through, now I know you're a level designer, but if you can show actual gameplay using your level design and then actually explain the level design purpose behind whatever the player is doing in the shot, then that's going to be great. So if you can put more GIFs into your portfolio and then explain the level design behind what the player is doing at that current moment or any type of like intricate level design stuff, then that's going to be awesome as well. I do love this GIF that you have right here showing the spaces. That's great. And then the block mesh to the more rendered scene. That's awesome as well. And then there's also, let me see if I still have him. There he is. Now, have you seen me link Ben Brower's portfolio?
I have not.
Okay, let me send this to you. Oh, did we lose him? I think we lost him. Lost you somehow. Okay. So this is a good portfolio to study. He has the breakdown from the level layouts to video showing gameplay, the design process from the paper to the blockout. And then he has GIFs, just like you, where he goes from the blockout to, the finished layout. So really good portfolio to look at and study and see how he broke some things down. Maybe you can get some ideas about layout, how to present things, and how to think about level design in ways that you never thought about. Who knows?
For sure, yeah. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Now Okay, and then you have that down here. Okay, so these images right here. So we have level design stuff. Have a level design, and then this video.
Cemented the level start and endpoints, I established my level design goals. A broad player intentionality, creating interesting pathing, a balanced.
So I think for me, this is me personally, is that I would love for these videos to be a little bit bigger, because this video is great. It's front and center. You want to click on it. I would make it the width of the page instead of it being that small. So if I click on this, it's the width of my space that I'm working with. Just so it's like, that's a major piece, or that's a major video. It has you talking. It has you going through
Months on this
dialogue of how the project is going, how it came to fruition, your thoughts on it. So make that big. That's a great video. You have a great narrating voice. You're telling things in a clear and concise manner. Make that a focal point. This video right here,
Grimhook's development in 8
you're
months
giving
later.
another breakdown. Make that a focal point by giving that the full width of the screen and then having the description under it. I would say typically you only want to do this type of like text by the side of it if you have GIFs. Like, this is fine, but if you have a video where you're really going into depth about what you're working on, make that front and center. You spent time on that video, so put that on there. I'll put that in the center.
Yeah, just referencing the portfolio you sent me, I can see that I can make a lot of changes to the layout. But like I said, I'm probably going to have to switch to Wix or another site that gives me a little more customizability.
Yeah, that's completely fine. So, all in all, you have the stuff, man. You have it. You have the GIFs showing the befores and the after. You have some gameplay stuff down here to show you how you're using the level design as the player, which is also great. Yeah, you have the components. Just when you get around to, if you do want to switch up the websites, once you get around to using Wix or Squarespace or whatever you choose, feel free to reach back out to me. But all in all, you have the information there. You have great breakdowns. I think you just need a little bit more flexibility with your website builder, and then you'll be set.
Okay. And you spoke a little bit about the way, perhaps it was before you had scrolled down a little bit on that entry, but GIFs that specifically show how my level design is guiding the player. Is there something specific you were speaking to when you said that, or did you see stuff later on that felt like that was covered? Or is there an example in another portfolio that you could reference?
Yeah, I said that before I got down here.
Okay.
So in this GIF, you can see that you're using the level design to your advantage to get over that gap. So if you do have any like wall running stuff that you can add a GIF on, that's going to be also great. Or if you have any level design that you've made where you wanted the player to do a very specific thing, then that's also something great that you can show as a GIF. But these are good. I didn't see these before I said that, but okay. I just want more of these because this shows off what the player is, how the player is utilizing the level design, and that counts for a lot.
Okay, awesome. I'll definitely work to do more of that.
And then same thing here, I would balloon up the video so that it spans. Good stuff here. I would add more GIFs in here if you have any before and afters. I know it can be a challenge to go back to a project that you haven't worked on in a while.
This is definitely utilizing some old layout of the portfolio, so there's definitely a lot more text and less videos. But I wasn't really able to get more footage. I'd like to go back and see if I can now.
Okay, if you can't, that's fine. But well, there's no but yeah, this is fine. If you can't get any more footage out of this, then explaining it the best way that you can will work. And then the about page, I need that screenshot. somewhere in here. Because if I'm reading about you, I want to see what you look like so that I can see the expression on your face and know what you're about.
All right, awesome. I'll add that in.
Said I absolutely love to create. More specifically, I love subtly teaching the player through gameplay in a way that lets them learn while staying immersed. Awesome. I'm passionate because I see a game's level as the most fundamental form of communication with the player. Feel free to get in contact with me through the information in my resume. I'm actively searching for job and internship opportunities. Nice. Got the resume button. That resume button isn't centered.
It's not.
I'm very much OCD when it comes to those things, but it's very minor. Okay, Ian Percy, level designer, skills. You know C#, great. Blueprint visual scripting, nice. How much of C# do you actually know?
I worked in Unity, self-taught for 3 years, so I don't have like a rigid understanding of code. It's more of a means to an end as a designer, but I did code for over 3 years in Unity, so I know a good amount.
Okay, you can become a real threat then. Because a lot of people want to become level designers so they don't have to script and code. But if you are a level designer that knows how to script and you can know how to script enough to get the effect that you want in level design, you're going to go far. So that's great.
Oh, I'll get bored if I don't get to code at all. So
Love it. Keep that mentality.
thank you.
Okay, Unreal Engine 5, Unity, Adobe Photoshop, Nice Illustrator, Maya, Substance Painter, Microsoft Suite. I'm saying all the right things. I don't necessarily recommend level and game designer as far as the formatting. You can say level designer and game designer because technically those are two different things. And then let's say you apply for something. If you go through ATS, do you know about the ATS?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for those who don't know, ATS is the application tracking system, and it is a robot that your resume goes through first to make sure it matches a certain amount of keywords in the job application. And then depending on the percentage match, the word match in your resume versus the actual job application that they had out there, it'll rank you from qualified to not really that qualified. And then I just lost them again. Let's bring them back in here. There we go, lost you again. But the ATS can spell your doom if you don't cater your resume to the job application wording. So the ATS gives you a percentage. If 80% of the words on your resume match the words that they're looking for on the job application, then you'll be higher rank than somebody who only matches at a 20% level, and recruiters might not even look below a certain percentage. So definitely make sure that you go to jobscan.co, and then just so you all can see what that looks like, jobscan.co is what I use for my resume to make sure it's appropriately matched with the job application that I'm submitting so I can have a better chance of being seen. So really good site to go to just to make sure your resume is attuned for the job that you're applying to. Okay. Owned overall level in game design on a first-person action platform, Bullet Hell and Unreal Engine 5. You don't have to sell the game here. You have to sell what you've done on the game. So on the overall level design and game design, you could have stopped right there. You don't really need to say what the game is. At this point, you're trying to market your skill set. Market your skill set by what you've done on the project. If they want to know more about the project or what it's about, they can definitely go to your portfolio, which is linked right here. And then ease the load on animation and programming and art departments through communication, flexibility, and implementation in Unreal Engine 5. So you can say, use my interdepartmental communication skills to increase efficiency by 20%, 30%, whatever. But leisurely words like eased, you don't necessarily want to use. because like, how do you measure that? So if you can make something measurable in any way possible, then I would go about doing that. And this is all just something that you'll have to learn over time on how to market yourself. And then once you get more into your senior projects, you'll be able to better market yourself because you'll have achievable goals or more achievable accolades and results from those projects.
It's definitely something I've struggled with is defining like clear metrics as a student. I'm like, okay, I know that I did this thing in a decreased scope in this way, but how do I define that with a number? So
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell y'all this: it doesn't really matter which percentage you put down. They're not gonna be like, cool. Just don't put anything outrageous. So you can say, use my interdepartmental communication skills to speed up production by, let's say, 40%. It's like, how did you know that you got to 40%? It's like, well, relatively, I think that it sped up by that much when I was in the picture versus me not being in the picture. And that they're going to ask you the story behind why you think that, or why you put down 40%. And you can just say, hey, that was the metric for what I thought I sped the team up by when I was in the picture and I was working on communication. So it doesn't need to be any type of like really solidified thing. Just, hey, if you have a metric that you can use it.
absolutely. Okay.
Okay, prototype iterators polish and ship to first purchase. So yeah, this as well. So I guess you have these on all of them. Yeah, you don't need that. You can clear up space and then boast about yourself a little bit more. But you don't need to explain anything that's happening in the game on your resume, just what you've done.
Okay.
Just keep this in mind. Every bullet point on your resume should be your cheerleader. If it's not being the best cheerleader that it can be, kick it off the team and get another cheerleader. Okay. And then you said you're in your senior year and you still have quite a few months left to go, right?
Yes, sir. I graduate in the spring.
Okay, yeah. So you'll be back. You'll iterate this at least like 3 more times. And so there's absolutely no sweat. You've already got a good template here. You have a good layout. You're already using better words than I was ever using when I had done my resume. So you're on the right track. You're doing good.
It's only the 3rd or 4th iteration, so.
Not bad at all. Then awards, you got some awards: Dean List, best gameplay, best overall. That's fantastic. Eagle Scout, awesome. Fan favorite, love it. Yeah, all of this is looking really good. To clear up some confusion up top, I would. Now, PercyI.com necessarily didn't stick out as a portfolio handle to me, so you might need to add something up top there that's like, hey, this is my portfolio. But other than that, looks good.
Definitely add some titles above them to clarify.
Yeah, and then remember, JobScan is a great tool. I'm going to put it on the screen just for a little bit, again, just so you all know about it. I absolutely hate this thing. I hate it, but you got to love it because it can potentially get you jobs a little bit, or it can potentially get you interviews a lot more often because you are matching your resume to what they're looking for. So it is a great tool. I just hate that it can sometimes take 2 hours to format your resume in order to get it above a certain percentage. But hey, if you really have a job and you really want to go gung-ho for it, get on JobScan, put your resume in there, copy and paste the job application description in there, and then make sure you get above an 80% match. And I'm going to be honest, you're going to have to BS a little bit to get those percentages up, but that's completely fine. It's completely fine. You can just justify it, or not justify it, but you can hold up to it in the interview. Just know what you're talking about when you go in the interview, and then you'll be fine.
I mean, honestly, having a clear percentage there might help a little bit more and save some time, because right now I'm just scrolling through the job descriptions and trying to squeeze the words in where I can, but not knowing quite where to stop or what's good. So
Oh, yeah, then that's going to be a very valuable tool for you.
absolutely, I appreciate it.
But yeah, all in all, you're doing good. You're on the right track. You are leagues. You're probably about where I was 8 months out of graduation. So you're doing phenomenally. You're getting a head start on things. So good on you. Keep it up. Good luck with that 20 to 30 person team. That sounds like pure chaos and needs to be managed 24/7, or unless fires are going to break out, but that's fantastic experience. If you do have any, like, one more question that you want to ask me before we move on to the next person, then do let me know.
Not too much that I can think of, but as everyone else has said, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate the new connection, having your guidance. It's awesome. I'll definitely message you at some point in the future and check back in if that's all right.
Of course, looking forward to hearing back from you.
All right. Well, you have a good night.
All right, you too. I'll catch you. Nick said it's bending the truth to be more accurate. Yes, bending the truth. Everybody, let me say this. You're not going to be 100% honest on your resume, your portfolio. It's just not going to happen. You have to oversell yourself to a certain extent so that you're even in the competition in the first place. You ever watch a commercial, or back in the day, a commercial would come on TV and then they would just put so many bells and whistles and flowers and bright colors in your face for a product that if you chose to buy it, you would get it, and you're like, this isn't exactly, I didn't see all the hype that they was putting on the commercial, but I bought it and like I have it now and I guess it works. But same thing. People, when you make a product, you have to advertise the best way that you can. Maybe you have to bend the truth a little bit. Maybe you have to exaggerate here and there. But ultimately, that's the way the world works. If you have a product and both products are competing, they're going to say, hey, I do this better than the next person. I do this better than the next person. Hey, look at me. I can do this. That's the way it is when you apply as well. So don't be afraid to stretch the truth just a little bit, because you're going to honestly need that to compete. I'm not telling you to boldface lie to the nth degree, but you probably will need to add a little bit of oomph in there every once in a while to get you ahead of the competition. Just make sure you're very strategic with that. Yeah, Nick said don't overdo it to where it's obvious by some research. Yeah, don't overdo it. Okay. Oren said, hi, great stream and extremely helpful. How can I submit my portfolio? I'd really appreciate a review. Send that portfolio to me. I'm not for sure if I'm going to have enough time to get to you, because there are other people that I need to get to as well. But feel free to send it my way anyways. And then maybe if I have some time, well, I'm not really going to have much time in the near future because I have to prep for that talk. But at least I'll have you in the messages for the next time that I do the stream. Okay. Okay, Joshua, are you still in the chat, my man? Cool. Thank you again so much, Tyvik. Going to grind out these changes. Glad to be of service. Let me know when you get them changes in. I'd love to hear some updates. Okay, Josh, I'm about to send you the stream link. 1 second. then Dia Max said, "Hey Tyvik, I'm feeling like I'm bothering people when I reach out or taking their time. Do you have an advice for me and others that feel like me?" That is a common thing. You're never going to get over that. You're always going to feel like you're bothering somebody, you're trespassing on their time. And quite frankly, there's no special thing that you can say that's going to make somebody more willing to help you out or make it feel like you're burdening them less. But one thing that I really appreciate is people that are like, "Hey, don't want to take too much of your time. If you have, 10 minutes to go over my portfolio or my resume, I'd really appreciate that." And then just keep it at that. And then the ultimate payback that you can give somebody that helps you out is update them. Not 2 weeks from now, not 3 weeks from now, not a month and a half later. If somebody gives you advice that can be applicable today or the next time that you have any free time, go ahead and honor that time and then make the changes that they're suggesting. And then say, "Hey, I took your feedback. Do you mind looking through this again?" If somebody reaches out to me and then I go over their portfolio on their resume and they get back to me within a day or two, that is awesome. I will respond back to them. I'll be like, "Hey, you took my advice in a timely manner. You got the stuff done. Okay, you're listening to me." The best thing that you can do for somebody who gives you knowledge is to apply it and then tell them that you're using that knowledge to better yourself. Okay? But as far as getting rid of that feeling of being a burden, you can't. It's just not going to happen. Now, what I do recommend is that you reach out to 5 people, 8 people. So that way you cast a wide net. And then if somebody can get back to you, sure, they can. Some people have families. Some people have jobs that they have to do. Some people are just not on LinkedIn at all anymore. And so you really just have to cast a wide net, and then you'll eventually find a gold nugget of knowledge from somebody that has the time. So it's really right place, right time as well. And I know a lot of you all have been reaching out to me for portfolio reviews and whatnot, but I try to get to them when I can, but I'm only one person. So I can't get to everybody, and sometimes it does get a little bit overwhelming. But reach out to other people. I'm not the only person. I know you want to get your portfolio reviewed by me, but there's a lot of other people out there that will give you great information as well. And then Eternal said, "Good luck to everyone. Dia, you just need to feel when to stop and always be polite if that connection is imposed by you or anyone else." Yeah, and then you'll get that feeling like, "Hey, I should probably stop talking to this person." And also, I see you in here. 1 second, Joshua. 1 second. Let me clear up this point. And then one other thing, a lot of people will contact me like a week later after they initially message me. And they'd be like, "Hey, just sending a friendly reminder. If you do have time, can you check out my portfolio?" A follow-up is always a great thing because some people are just busy at the time that you message them, and they'll click on your message and then they just don't have enough time to get back to it. So always follow up with somebody if you don't hear back from them in a timely manner. The worst thing that they can do is just ghost you. That's it. So not an issue at all. But we got Joshua in the building. How's it going, my man? And I cannot hear you. 1 second.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Awesome. Hey, I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back on the stream thing now, since I've been out for so long, but finally good to be back chatting, helping people out.
Love it.
Doing good.
Nice.
Yeah, so like with everybody else, tell me a little bit about yourself, what goals you have for the industry, where you trying to get to, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So I am a game designer. Don't really have too much of a specialization at the moment. Kind of leaning towards quests, but nothing really set in stone. I was working on NBA 2K for a few years. Recently laid off, unfortunately, about a month or two ago, and exploring new opportunities. Recently started working in UEFN, trying to figure out what's going on with that, since I know that's one of the biggest things in the industry right now.
Hmm.
Um,
You mind
he's
telling people what that means?
oh yeah, Unreal Engine Fortnite. Um, yeah, just a new cool way to make some games. I haven't worked too much in it yet. I actually just started today, and I spent a few hours on it.
Hmm.
But looking forward to what that brings. And goals, a cheesy one is just making making games for people and making their day a little better from the experiences that I create. And then something more kind of solid is yeah, trying to find what exactly I want to specialize in. I really like quests, but I'm kind of open to other things. That's why I have just the traditional game designer title on my LinkedIn, because I'm applying to a bunch of different places. And so if I put quests and I'm applying for technical, I felt like it might not look the best, that contrast.
Okay. And what inside of Quest sparks your interest?
I just like the variety of it because you can curate so many different experiences within a game, and I feel like when I'm designing things, I don't necessarily get bored, but I do like to hop around to different sections, and um, yeah, it just helps me get excited about new things. Like if I want to slay a dragon one day, or help the maiden in her farm the next, that'd be something I'd be able to help out with.
Okay, so mission designer.
Right, right.
Gotcha. Okay, so if you're a mission designer, I assume that you've checked out Blizzard's hotline.
I have, but yeah, I reached out to a few people. I got a deny on two applications, and I'm still waiting on a word back from one. And then actually had a recruiter at Rockstar reach out and do one of those one-sided interviews where you record your answers to the questions they give you. So I'm just kind of waiting that out now.
Okay, cool. So let's see. Within mission design, you have. So we got to break this down a little bit more. Like we got to go beyond the surface of that. So mission design. So do you want to do more of the narrative aspects of it, or plan out the NPCs that you're going to be talking to, and maybe the enemies that you're going to be fighting? Like what does that entail?
The latter, exactly. I actually have some experience. I guess creating NPCs and um, creating a narrative for it, but that's not exactly what I want to do. I do want to, I guess, plan out what I want the player's experience to look like. How many enemies are going to be in a certain area, how many NPCs you have to talk to, and what you have to do in between all those tasks.
Okay. So just to put some titles on your belt, or not on your belt, but on your mind, you have mission designer, you have content designer, and then you have encounter designer. So content and mission is going to be all about making the flow for the player from the beginning of the mission to the end. You're going to be adding in NPCs and interactions and what the player is going to be doing moment to moment. And then maybe you trickle in some enemies here and there along the way. If you want to do more of the combat focus, then that's going to be more so towards encounter design. So encounter design is going to be making spaces and everything, which that gets a little bit into like level design as well.
Mm.
That is a niche of level design. So if you wanted to study a little bit in that route or in that area, then you could also do that as well if that interests you. But just to give you some
I do
framework.
like door
Go
number
ahead.
one.
Door number one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So mission slash content designer.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, game designer, previously NBA 2K, WWE. Now, do you want to do? I'm sure you want to do something more fantasy based, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now you're in a predicament because NBA 2K is not necessarily within that fantasy space.
Right.
So you're gonna have to start to get some, and then maybe it's on your portfolio already, but you're gonna have to start getting some pieces or some wordage on your portfolio that talks more about the player experience as it deals with fantasy, and some research and design that you've done as far as leading the player from point A to point C to point F to point Z.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because right now, like, game designer, it's so weird because I really can't give like sound advice for people with game designer titles because it can mean a whole lot of stuff depending on where you go at. So one thing that I would want from you is to, at least in the about section, let me see, NACA crafting immersive experiences. Okay. Quest creator. So I would say mission designer, content designer down here. Really go in on your portfolio or your profile about that's what you wanting to do. And then you don't have to put NBA 2K or WWE in all of these spaces. We
Okay.
know that you've been working on that from up here, which is great. And then now you can just talk about what you want to do and what your passion currently is right here. So sell yourself. Sell yourself, not the projects that you've been working on so far.
Gotcha.
And then go ahead and get rid of this laid off / position eliminated. That serves you no purpose whatsoever. Go ahead and, I guess, let me see, did you worked on 2K from here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
visual concepts.
Yeah. One thing that I would tell you is that for the time being, yeah, go ahead and take this off. And then this is what I did. You can do this because companies always like somebody that is still, employed. So I kind of like stretched my employment date out by like 2 months just so I can kind of get that traction. That's where that stretching the truth a little bit comes into play at, because right here you're already eliminating yourself because you're laid off, position eliminated. People don't want to see that. So if anything, remove that and then just
Okay.
keep this as your top. So that way you've had the experience. That's at the forefront. You were there for 2 years and 5 months. So that's not I can't even say it. That's a significant amount of time. So I'd rather see that and be like, oh, he's been there for 2 years and 5 months, rather than lay off a position eliminated. So go ahead and take that down.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I was curious about that too because I saw a few other people on LinkedIn that were looking for work and talking about being laid off for a few months, but they still had their um, most recent position as current as if they weren't laid off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can do that. That's fine.
Cool.
Okay. The game designer. All of that looks good. Then resume, portfolio. Love it. Got a YouTube channel as well. Nice. Okay. Let's click on the portfolio. Or did I click on it? There we go. Nice animation right there. Got the
Thank
J.
you, thank
Cole
you.
in the background. Love it. One of my favorite artists.
Nice.
Nice
Oh,
work.
also, I was curious, real quick, what your stance on recommendations were and how big of a part they play on, I guess, grabbing attention for maybe a recruiter or a design manager.
Recommendation on a job application or what?
Just on the LinkedIn profile, like I had a couple of people after visual concepts, they recommend or they just left recommendations talking about or kind of vouching for my work ethic.
on your LinkedIn profile.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing this.
Should be towards the
Okay.
bottom. Yeah.
Gotcha. These are great. I don't know how many people scroll all the way down here though.
Yeah, I was wondering why LinkedIn threw it all the way to the floor.
Yeah, I would say they work. They're not necessarily going to. They'll help.
Make too
They'll
big
help.
of a difference.
They're brownie points,
I got you.
and
Okay.
it depends on who gives you that review. So, like, if you're working at Bethesda and you get a recommendation from Todd Howard, then it's like, okay, he got a recommendation from Todd Howard, so
Yeah.
yeah, this guy must be the
Hired.
real deal. Yeah. So it depends on who.
Awesome.
Okay, but all in all, I get here. I like what you're doing with the animations and whatnot. That's real clean looking. Got to refresh the page just to see it again. Nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would, if you can, push this graphic all the way to the edge, so that way there's no light space right here.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I guess it varies depending on maybe the size of um, your screen. Because, yeah, on mine, it shows up perfectly, but I did notice sometimes that it shrinks or it gets a little bigger. Good to know, though. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So thumbnails are good. Instead of go to page, you can add a little description or something, or a blurb, or tell the position that you were actually in.
Mm.
Because go to page, if everything says go to page, then you might as well just get rid of all of that. Got the Black Mamba. Love to see it.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, and I did have a question about the. So my proudest title is NBA 2K23, but it would look a little weird if 23 was on the left side. Yeah, I was just curious about your take on, like, I guess the order and if that matters, just because they're so close to each other already.
That's a hard one. Let me see, what type of content do you have in here? So I would say, based on the content, it seems like you have the same amount of content in each. If you're more proud of this one, then I should be able to visually see that by what you have on the page. Right now, they pretty much look identical.
Okay.
So let's pull that down here. Let's go here. Let's open that up. Let's pull this out here. And I want to go all the way over there. There we go. Let's put this right here. Let's go to home. 24. So if we see them side by side, then you'll see they both have the same amount of information on them. So you're telling me that you're more proud of the 23. I'm not seeing that visually. So,
Makes sense, yeah.
so boost that back up. Now, what I would recommend is that if you can get some more GIFs or videos in here to explain what you're doing. The gameplay trailer for the overall game, that's great, but that is representing the product, not you. And you want to represent anything and everything that you worked on, and if it doesn't represent you, then it doesn't need to be in your portfolio.
Got it.
So if you can capture footage, highly recommend.
Things like opening up an NPC menu or something. Like you go to talk to an NPC, you press a button, that pops up, like gifs like that.
Exactly.
Cool.
And then explain those. And then you seem like you're explaining yourself very well down here. Don't ever say I was responsible or I was tasked with, because that makes it sound like somebody told you to do it and you just did it. You want to sound like the man with the plan, and so you're going to be like, no, I designed and implemented various in-game rewards to motivate and reward players for their achievements and progress. Now that sounds like a designer that just went in there and did the thing and he made it happen. Okay.
Cool. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. So make sure like you're that guy. To everybody in the chat right now who is watching, you are that guy or that girl who is doing the thing when you describe yourself on your portfolio. You're not tasked with, nobody gave you this work. Sure, in reality, that's what it is, but they gave you a task and you absolutely obliterated it. You made it yours. You made it the way that you seen it in your mind. You envisioned it. You got it done. It was a great player experience. And then now you're here on my portfolio looking through what I done, and I'm telling you how badass I am. That's the type of energy that you want to come through with when you actually write this stuff down.
Love it, love it. I'm just gonna write "I'm him" at the very top of each description.
Hey, love it. But yeah, all in all, I would say that your portfolio pages are a little bit bare bones right now. You have a lot of text. You don't have a lot of footage to show off what you've actually been working on. And so you need that footage in the page to
Right.
really make yourself shine. And then one thing to note as you're talking about this and you're describing what you've done, you really need to emphasize the player experience of starting on a quest or an NPC dialogue tree and then taking the player through that experience and then where they're going to end up. Because if that's what you want to do, you have to make sure you get that to the forefront, because you're coming from sports and you want to go to fantasy. So you have to describe yourself like you're going to be capable of making that transition from being in a more realistic environment to going full fantasy, and then understanding what fantasy players like and what their rewards and motivations are about.
Gotcha.
So have that mentality when you're walking through this.
Sounds good. Yeah, I knew it'd be a bit of an issue with the sports background. I'm curious to see how many recruiters passed up because they saw my application, saw the experience, but they saw sports and it didn't exactly correlate.
So I don't know what that's going to be, but if you can describe yourself to the point where you're like, I can do fantasy easy, no problem. That's what you want to try to get across. Okay, your about page got an image of yourself digging the turtleneck.
Thank you.
Okay, currently seeking new adventures and experience to create. The majority of the games in my portfolio came to life through collaborative efforts with highly skilled team members. It would just be unjust to claim sole credit for these projects, which is why I provide detailed explanations on my specific contributions on each project page. Now, on your portfolio, you acknowledge that you have a team, but you talk about yourself. You take all the glory for yourself. Now, don't strip the credibility away from your team on things that you didn't do.
Right.
But the recruiters are here to see you, not them. So don't be afraid, and that goes for anybody. Do not be afraid to sell yourself like you are that person. Just do it. Nova, not sure if you're still in here, but thank you for being in the building tonight. Glad to see you in here. Looking forward to seeing you here next time. Okay. So yeah, all of this stuff tells me I like the 3 years of industry experience. That's good. Seeing the range of platforms. Not sure if I necessarily need all of that. You can just say popular franchises like NBA 2K and WWE. The recruiter that knows about games in any capacity is going to know that NBA 2K is on all platforms. So that's just wasting space right there. And then currently seeking new adventures. You don't need to have that. And then I can see that you were previously at another company from LinkedIn and everywhere else. At this section, I just want you to talk about yourself, what you're passionate about, what's going to bring that fuel to the fire if somebody decides to hire you, and then what you're going to do when you get on the team. Okay?
Okay.
Then the podcasts are great. Videos. Now, one thing that I would expect, if you have videos right here with the thumbnails and everything, then I would expect you to have thumbnails for these videos right here. Now, if these are links to separate pages, then that's a different thing. Let me see. Okay,
Should be playlists.
gotcha. Okay.
Do you think that's better, or should I find maybe a thumbnail that can kind of find a way to compile what that playlist represents?
Yeah. If you could, I don't know how the YouTube linking works for when you want to link playlist. Maybe link a video within a playlist, and once you click on that video, then you'll see the playlist on the side. I'm not for sure if that's an avenue that you can do, but I would like to see some type of visuals on these videos or
Okay.
these video links if possible. If not, that's fine. That's cool. And then also your blue links are kind of blending into your blue background.
What color do you think you'd recommend? Because I noticed that blue is actually, it's the color you use when you've already clicked the link.
That is all up to you.
Okay.
That is like a personal touch. That's something that just resonates with you. I believe on some website platforms you can actually change the overall link color, so you may not even have to change your background at all. It's just what your link colors are. And I think, yeah, you're on Wix, you should be able to do that. Yeah, and then Luke said orange is complementary to blue, so change the links to orange if you can.
Cool.
Okay. And then click image for a PDF. Let's open up the PDF. Okay, let's see. Got a link to your LinkedIn and your email. Cool. Portfolio. Nice. Instead of portfolio, well, you do have the whole Wix site thing on there.
Yeah, it was going off the page when I threw it on.
I see. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you this just as a disclaimer before I start.
Too flashy.
I personally am not a fan of these type of layouts because your eyes don't know where to go necessarily. Now, the blue is eye-catching. Joshua, game designer, skills, software, education. That's where my eyes go. Career summary, that looks bland. Work experience, that looks bland too. I just want to be in the blue. And so when I try to read your work experience, my eyes are getting pulled over to the side, to the left, because that's the most eye-catching color on the page. So I'm going to break this down bit by bit. I do recommend the bland and boring, but I'm going to critique you on what you have here and not on a completely different format.
Okay.
So first off, Neves, is that how you say that?
Nieves.
Nieves. Oh, that's fancy.
That's why I threw the blue in there.
Noah said, I got to head out, Tyvik, but thanks for the great feedback and keep up the great work. Love the portfolio, Josh, and good luck with the job search.
Thank you so much.
Until next time. Okay, so your name takes up quite a bit of space. That's a lot of space that you could have used to put in that link that went off the page for your portfolio. So we know who you are. It doesn't need to be that big. That's taking up quite a bit of space. And then as well, while we're on it, this type of formatting, you have, let me see, can I, no, my computer's probably going to freeze if I do that. You have all of this space right here. That is free. This is just wasted space. This is wasted space right here. So there's a lot of negative space on this page that you can use to have more cheerleaders on your team. More cheerleaders, the more you look better. Okay. Now for all of these, this is a lot of skills, my man.
Thank you.
I don't discount that you have these skills, but this is starting to be like a jack of all trades thing, and that's definitely how you don't want to come across. So your skills should be able to be explained on your portfolio when they read through your projects. Now there's some things in here. It's a lot of good stuff actually. Quest development, lives ops design, reward system, NPC design. So I would actually put this on your portfolio on your about page,
Okay.
because this is not terrible information. This is great information, but this is too much for a resume, because I'm not reading through all this. I'm not.
Right.
This is a
Oh,
lot.
you know what? I think it was mostly for the ATC, I think is the acronym.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I think it needs to come down by like 50% maybe, or what would you recommend
I'd recommend just saying all of these things over
in the
here
work
on
experience?
this side. Like, pick the ones that are most relevant to the path that you're trying to go towards. So content design or mission designer, and then anything else you can put on your about page. You can say, hey, I know all these skills. I'm that guy. But you do want to make sure that when a recruiter comes through your page, you're very focused. You know what you want to do. I'm specializing in this one thing, but look, I have all these other sections handled as well. But
Right.
right now, there's no way you can possibly do all of these things to a very in-depth degree, because it's simply too many.
Mm.
And so you don't want them at the forefront. And especially in your portfolios, since you need to explain things more with video and GIFs and show your work more, you need to really reduce these, because you're saying that you've done a lot, but you're not showing that you've done a lot on your portfolio, and you're conflicting yourself.
Okay.
Okay, and then just so y'all know, it is going on 10 o'clock. So unfortunately for the people that have been waiting, I'm gonna make this my last one. But after this, I'm gonna make sure that I write all of your names down, and then so that the next time I have one of these later on towards the week, then you're gonna be first in line to get in next time. So don't fret, it's just a small delay, but I'll get to you. But we're gonna finish up with Joshua, and then we're gonna call it a night, because it's getting close to people's bedtimes. Okay. So software, Perforce, industry standard, Levit, Unity 3D, Unreal Engine, C# scripting, visual scripting, Blueprint, and Figma. Great. Very versatile. Career summary: with over 3 years of experience in game design, I have honed my skills while collaborating with diverse teams of varying sizes and successfully shipped 5 games. My expertise lies in game design, quest creation, and issue resolution, showcase across multiple projects including NBA 2K, WWE 2K, and more. Okay. I would figure out what the industry name for quest creation is, because I don't know if that's a universal term or not, or if that's an in-house term. But you want to make sure that you're speaking everybody's language.
Okay.
So just take that note down. Okay. Now see up here that your globe isn't necessarily centered with the other icons. It's off by like 3 pixels.
Oh yeah.
Is that me?
Uh,
Or not?
I hope it is. Let's see.
What do y'all
It
think?
could be a little off.
I think it's off by a little bit of pixels. That's funny. I'm I am so nitpicking on that.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough the way I designed the resume, because I had to use a lot of individual pieces to get it this way. And so if I move one thing, then it takes a pretty long time to adjust the rest. But I guess I should just find a better way to redesign the resume, so it's a lot easier to just move things around.
That's also another pro of having a boring resume is you ain't got to format it as much. Because I've done this before. And then my PDF was like 12 megabytes. But if you do want to continue with this style, then I would say, hey, skim down the skills a little bit. Make sure that you use as much negative space as you can. You can probably push career summary back a little bit so that way you have a little bit more space to work with as far as text goes. And then Luke said, one thing to note is that the blue banner on the left doesn't go all the way to the bottom. Oh.
Yeah, I noticed that late too.
Good eye. Let's see, implemented and balanced NBA 2K's updated quest features. Implemented seasonal content, created and implemented rewards. Place as a new quest and ensured effort reward ratio was fair. Created and presented design case studies to keep the team sharp. So I guess overall, and then I would say this is probably because you don't have enough space to work with. You can't really dig into too many details on what you're talking about. So that also comes in with cutting off your own space for actually selling yourself. So you have the potential to have, a team of 20 cheerleaders, but you allow the fans to walk up on the field. And so now you only have space for 5.
I got you. Yeah, I was hoping there would be a kind of thing where it's just enough to pique some interest and then they dive in a little more in the portfolio. But you think there should be maybe a little more information to help with that?
Yeah, because you need results. So right now you're telling me what you did. You're not telling me the results of those things. And you're telling me what you did, but it's a summary of what you did. So you're not even getting to the point where you're able to sell yourself properly because you don't have enough space to sell yourself. So what I would say is, if you want to continue with this style, I would try to push all of this stuff over to the left as much as possible, so that way you have a little bit more room to work with.
Okay.
And then as well, September 2023, September 2022, that's great for timeline marking, but that's also taken up quite a bit of space. So if you're able to eliminate that and then put that in line with visual concepts, game designer, NBA 2K24, then that's going to give you a whole lot more space to work with. So right now you're working within just this box right here. But if you get rid of all of this negative space right here, then you can push this back and you can have that amount of space to work with. And that'll double the length of the sentences that are required. So you can have all your cheerleaders back, or at least most of them.
Okay. Yeah, I do like this style, but kind of opening my eyes a little bit. I'll probably reach out. I have a few recruiter connections, so I can pick their brain and see how they're feeling about that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because every recruiter's not going to like the same thing. And if you like this style, then find the best way to do this style. And then Marco said, do you think that a template like this would be better changing the blue to a color like dark gray, or would you feel the same about both? I would feel the same about any type of color, and gray tones as well, because eye heaviness, or how do I pronounce that? It's still going to be heavy because the right side of the resume is devoid of color compared to the left side. So because there's such a great amount of color over here, that's where your eye is going to be drawn towards. So it's more the busyness of it rather than the color of it.
Maybe throw in some orange.
And then Luke said, good luck, Joshua. Good looking portfolio tonight. Can't wait for next time.
Thank you, Luke.
Okay, so all in all, I've given you pretty much all the feedback that I have. And then I would say change home to portfolio
Okay.
on the navigation bar. And then I would get rid of YouTube and make it an icon if you can, so that you can just click on the icon.
And that spot right there, or should I add it in a different area?
It would be towards the right part of the navigation bar. So it would be like somewhere over here. If you can see that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I would also add your title under your name. So what do you want to be?
Right.
So on LinkedIn, game designer. I come to your, where you at? I go to your portfolio. What is he? So make
Add that
sure.
level of mystery.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the only thing. Your animations on your profile are great. Remember to go back and make sure you get rid of I was tasked, I was responsible for. Make sure you have I'm that guy type energy. Your formatting is good. Your animations are great. Remember to change go to page with something else. Could be the title that you had, or could be NBA 2K 2024 something.
Mhm.
Then your independent projects, same thing. Love to play now. What is it on? It's on YouTube. Wait, what does this go to? So your
It took you
play,
to YouTube?
yeah,
Oh
now it goes to
no.
YouTube. So
Oh man, that's bad.
and then what I would recommend is removing previous and next.
Okay.
Because this should be a portal to this project and this project only. And you in this space, this project gets to shine. So if you get to the bottom and you're reading this, you're like, ooh, that's a nice thumbnail. Let me click on this. I don't want to read any more on that. Okay. This is cool. Let me read down here. Oh, snap. We got another thumbnail. Let me click on that. And so you're distracting your viewer going through your portfolio with that.
Yeah.
But all in all, greatly designed portfolio. Just some
Thank you.
formatting things here and there, but you're in a good spot.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I had a question about cold emails. So I got a compliment today about the way that I did it, but that was just one person. So I'm curious about your take on it. Um, so the way I reach out is basically just, the introduction. Good morning. Hope you're having a good day. Um, I know you're busy and flooded with messages, reaching out to express my interest in design opportunities. And then I sum up my experience in a couple of bullet points.
Mm-hmm.
And then I end off with, here's my resume and portfolio. Check out my recommendations as well to see people who vouch for my work ethic. Appreciate your time. And I'd love to talk whenever you have a spare moment.
Sounds clear, concise, and solid. You're respecting their
Awesome.
time. You got to the bullet points of what you're about. These are the people that back me. Here's the links to my portfolio and what I'm about. And then would love to have some of your time. Simple and clean. That's all I can ask
Nice.
for. So good job on that.
Thank you. Thank you. And in terms of, I guess, growing connections, should I throw in, or I guess if they expressed interest in talking, should I find a way to schedule like a 30-minute call or however much time they might have?
Only if you're going to get what you're looking for out of it. Now
Okay.
don't do it just because they responded back to you and they're receptive. But if you genuinely have questions and curiosity, then like, hey, can I pick your brain for about 15, 30 minutes with a quick phone call or something sometime, and then just see where that goes. But I think I would just generally say, if you're reaching out to somebody, make sure you have a goal in mind, and make sure you have a goal in mind for what you want to do with the information that you could potentially get back. And you only know what you can do with the information that you're going to get back if you have a goal for why you're meeting with them in the first place, or why you want to meet with them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the times I reach out to recruiters and I give them that same kind of layout that I just told you about. And there are times where they don't have job opportunities at the moment, but they might in the future. So I'm wondering if I should try to get a call and then build that connection. And so the next time they have a position, um, they can think about me, or I'm a little more ingrained in their mind because we had spoken like on a video call before.
Yeah, and then if you're doing the cold call emails and everything, say, hey, do you mind if I add you on, or we connect on LinkedIn? And then just do that. So now you'll be in the network. If they post very often on LinkedIn, then you might catch them putting up a open, not or putting up a job post that aligns with what you want to do, and you can reach back out to them, say, hey, you remember when I contacted you? Just apply for this role. Let me know if you need anything else. Would love to chat again. So things like that.
Cool. Sounds like a plan.
And then, yeah, man, just figure out how to make sure you're going to show that you want to do mission design, quest design, and then make a portfolio that represents that.
Awesome. Yeah, that was what I was looking forward to doing in the Unreal Engine, since I know a lot of companies are shifting that way. Just try to find a way to create a system that works and then throw my design in there, however good it can look.
Yeah, so you're already on the right track. And one thing, if you can buy an add-on that already has the tools, or like you said, you're in the Fortnite editor. So if you just use that and then you make missions and quests that way, you don't need to build it from the ground up. You just need a platform to work with. So Fortnite allows you to do that and make quest givers, and you go out on a quest, you complete the quest, you come back, you get something. That's a portfolio piece. So,
Right. Yeah, that was a big issue I had a while back when I was first starting out. I was trying to make a new game from scratch every time, but that's more like engineer type stuff, I would think. And like, yeah, it doesn't really show your design prowess if you're rebuilding over and over the same things.
yeah, not at all. And I think that's an easy pitfall to fall into, is that I got to build it myself. I got to, make the quest giver. I got to code it. I got to script it. I got to add all the assets to
Yeah.
it. You don't have to do that. Once you get into an industry job anyways, for my people who haven't been in the industry yet, you're going to specialize, and you're not going to build everything yourself. You're going to be working with a small subset of the engine, and you're already going to have the tools there so you can do your job. So if there is an add-on or an asset pack that you can buy in the store, go ahead and do that. Or if there's something that you can get into, go ahead and do that. Because if you're doing mission or content design, you just need to find you a game that has an editor. You can even open like the Skyrim editor or the Fortnite editor. All the assets are there. You just make the content. That's how you can do that. So no need to build it from the ground up and do it all yourself. But that's all the info I got for you, Joshua. So glad to have you on here. You have a really great looking portfolio.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate your time. And I know everyone else has said it, but it's only because it's so true. We all appreciate what you're doing for the industry. I have other friends doing mentorship too, and I know that helps. And yeah, it was good talking to you, and I hope we can chat again soon. I'd love to know more about your background. I've only been following you on LinkedIn for a few weeks, but super interested to know more about what you're about.
Gotcha. I'll have to make some videos about that. And I do have a video that I'm about to post in a couple of weeks that I recorded before I was even in the industry, and I was like, I'm gonna be in the industry, so be on the lookout for
Nice.
that.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, again, appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Got you, Joshua.
See ya.
Okay. And then Marco said, sorry if you already told it in the past, but in your opinion, what's the best style of a resume? I like the plain, boring resume style. So let me go to my portfolio right quick. About content. That's my resume. let me see. Let me bring it back up. This is my resume. I like this style because you're reading it from the top to the bottom. My eye is not being led any towards any particular way. Excuse me, y'all. I seriously need some water, and I need to take a break from talking. I've been talking quite a bit at this hour. We've been going for 3 hours so far, so forgive me. But simple and clean. Tyvik Starworth, game designer. There's my information. Skills, programming languages, I list them all right there. The software that I know, my experience, what I've done, measurable results. And then I'm just reading down the page. Real easy, top to bottom. I don't have to read to the left side, to the right side. Not at all. Just read straight down. And then that's my history of what I've done. Simple and clean, easy to read. Nothing is competing with your focus. So I always recommend this. And I do have a post. If you look in my post activity and my history, you will see that I have given away this template for free. You can download it straight from Google Drive, and you can use this template for yourself. So with all of that being said, thank you all so much for being here. We had over 25 concurrent people at once in here tonight. Thank you all so much for being here. And thank you all doubly so much for being here after I've been away for about a month. Hopefully you got some really good information tonight that you can take, use on your own portfolios, and then make them that much better. And then of course the people that have been in here or who were in here at first and didn't get their portfolio seen, I have tabs on who was in here and who wanted me to look at their portfolio. So for Friday, I will be probably reaching out to you so that way that you can get your portfolio looked at. So that way you don't feel like you missed out because you were here early, and I want to honor that. So again, thank you all for being here. And then Dia Max said, would it be safe to put in phone numbers in CV? It is. A lot of people do it. I wouldn't put it on your portfolio, and I wouldn't put it on LinkedIn as public. But if it's in a separate link that goes to your PDF, sure, that's fine. There's not really going to be that many people that's going to go to your portfolio besides people with curiosity or recruiters. Nobody has really called me to nobody has called me as of yet to harass me or anything, so it's generally safe. Maybe I should probably take my phone number off my resume since I'm doing the social media thing now, but not really an issue. Luke Pearson said 25. Let's go. Yeah, it's better than last time. I think last time we got maybe around 21. So the fact that I've been gone for a month and we come back and it's at 25, it could be higher, but the max number that I saw was 25. And then Marco said, thanks for all the tips. No problem. Glad to give y'all some knowledge. Oren said, thank you. See you next time. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Love seeing you in here. And then Tanya 3D said, thanks for the tips. I learned some new things. Glad you learned some new things. That's what I always hope to achieve every time I do one of these things. Jay Casio, thanks for all the tips and for sharing the job scan thing. I wasn't aware until now. Yeah, I really need to just make a post about using that on LinkedIn, because it seems like a lot of people don't know about that in general. So I should probably advertise that so that people can start matching their resumes to the job application a lot better. Wade, thank you so much for the time and all those good tips. No problem. Glad to do it. Unreal Samurai 33, another great one. Thanks, Ty. Not a problem. Oren, I'll reach out to you on LinkedIn with a link to my website portfolio. Great. And then Luke, thanks, Tyvik. Hoping it's not too late to reach out about next time. Would love to get mine reviewed. Yeah, just send me y'all's portfolio links, and then I'll just go in order next time I have one of these streams, which I'm planning for Friday. Okay? So be on the lookout on LinkedIn so that you can click that notification bell when it comes up. If you haven't followed me on YouTube, go ahead and follow me. And then if you haven't liked the video and you've been here the whole time, go ahead and like that video for me on the way out so that this video can get more publicity and help out more people in turn. Game Dev Josh, dope stream. Glad it was a good one. Glad y'all got some good content. But with that said, I will see y'all next time. Thank y'all for being here. Love seeing so many people in here and letting me know that I'm helping y'all out. But until next time, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.